that suck, but also whatever cooks. But if you give us too much shit, we'll just get pissed off and quit. So don't do it. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show, telling you everything that we know. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show. Let's go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Weird Science Marvel Comics Podcast, episode 92, Legacy 592, and I'm here with Matt. What up, Matt?
What up, Jim?
What is up is one world under gloom, one world under broom. I don't know. We have One World Under Doom came out, me and you trying to pick which books we're going to talk about. In the meantime, I kind of keep in mind, okay, well, Gray has been joining us, and he's been doing some other things. I'm not going to say that me and you end up sounding negative, but we are the one who we kind of have to bite the bullet and do the bigger books, which aren't so great now. So it does kind of seem like we're the miserable two. And so when I went to see the things, like, there's a ton of books that came out.
So week. Many.
And so I was like, okay, what will we do? I really want to not do One World Under Doom, but it is the event. And you kind of feel like you have to. But every time I think that, and then I read it, and I'm like, yeah, maybe this will be the last one. Now, at the end of this, you said you get the best news ever. we don't get another issue for 2 months, so we do have a bit of a reprieve. But
that's an eternity in comic book world.
It is, and I guess maybe that was planned, but I don't know why. The idea that you have an event, to me, you have to keep this thing going. Now, you may say, well, Jim, you are keeping it going because there's 8 million tie-ins, but I don't know anybody who's reading these tie-ins. I'm telling you, I don't know anybody is even talking about this One World Under Doom at any sort of capacity. Mm-hmm. Me and Gray talk about the Red Hulk book when that comes out and say that we like it, but we like it because it's a decent little fun book. But in the meantime, it's not really a One World Under Doom. And things like, say, The Runaways, that's coming out at this week, or something like Doom Academy. None of them seem to really tie
I feel bad
anyway.
For them because it's Runaways #1, but it's held under the banner of Doom, and you know it's not going to be any good.
Yeah, and the weird thing, I even told you, I really like the Brian K. Vaughan Runaways. That is one of the best books, I think, that Marvel has had in whatever. That's been a while since that one came out. And then you end up having Rainbow Rowell come in and do a couple things with it. And while it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, and it lost its edge. I mean, the thing really was like a generic version in my mind, and more about, you know, the relationships and kind of going whatever, but it never seemed to catch on. And then it would end, then it would start again. Now here we go. It's kind of being pushed in. It's almost like Doom Academy. Yep. Strange Academy, I thought was good, but never really got to a point where it was an all-time great because it never really did much. And then it kind of went away. And now recently it's coming back in weird ways with different writers, and it's not good. So it's tainted it. Runaways just kind of is what it is now with Rainbow Rowell, but it's odd that they don't get somebody else when it kind of has failed with her.
Yep.
It's just a weird play. But in the meantime, when we even get to the second book that we're going to talk about, I don't know. I mean, you can't have Hickman write everything, right? And even then, Hickman is not my favorite writer. I think that he's a good writer, but a lot of times, like that Imperium and then nonsense, I couldn't even stay awake to read it. But other writers are there at Marvel? Jed MacKay, at one point, people wanted to give him every book. Not great. And besides that, I mean, who is the big writer that you're going to say, okay, well, we have this big book? I mean, I don't think Ryan North's that great. And he's the one doing the event.
Chip Zdarsky's writing something in a giant size.
Yeah, in the giant size. And he's going to be doing the Cap book coming up. We're
so
definitely.
That's something, I guess.
It's weird, too. Again, Marvel has so many books that there's so many different ones, like if you said, because this week, again, you do have the Deadpool Wolverine, but you almost always have, well, which one? Oh, the Ben Percy one. Okay, but which one? Because I don't remember anything between. So when you end up where somebody did, not everybody is, you know, on the pulse of the streets here, but this one guy actually was mad at us because we haven't been covering the Chip Zdarsky Captain America book. And I said, well, it's because it's still a month and a half away.
Yeah.
It's not out. Like,
we're getting in trouble. We're in trouble for something that's not even out yet.
Oh, yeah. This guy was like almost saying, he didn't quite say, but it seemed to me like, why are you reviewing things you hate and you're not reviewing this Chip Zdarsky Captain America? And I said, well, it's not out. And the guy didn't believe me. Like, if you have it, then you can send it our way or something. I don't know. But again, the big play with this One World Under Doom is that Ryan North has been doing the Fantastic Four. And there are people who will say, and again, I think that with Marvel, me and you have done our do or die pull list. We've kind of discussed some things. And Marvel is the weird play of, I think there's not many books that you can just say, without any sort of other talk, you have to read this book. It's one of the best books in comics. Something even as popular as the Ultimate Spider-Man. I'd have to tell people, listen, get Ultimate Spider-Man, but don't expect a lot of Spider-Man. It's kind of a weird pace because of this month-to-month deal. Also, it's heading towards this maker stuff, so you'll have to do that. Like the other book that people will bring up is, say, Incredible Hulk. But, the pacing's a little off, and it's more about this Charlie. Like, I don't get, in one of the books, though, that people were kind of saying that was really good was Ryan North's Fantastic Four. I don't know what they were reading, because every time I read it, I didn't read every issue, and it kind of plays off these one-shot deals. Like, I'll be like, okay, well, people are talking about, Johnny Storm is making love to a centipede.
Or
right.
Johnny Storm has a stupid mustache.
Or Johnny Storm with this mustache. Or, hey, Ben this. Or, like, it's okay. But that's where I think that Marvel lies a lot with, that the okay now has to be considered great because there's no real great. And so you go, one of the books that I will say that I think is really good, it's not my thing, but a lot of people like it. I think you might have even told me you like it, is that Aliens Avengers book.
Oh,
by
I love
Jonathan
that.
Hickman.
I haven't read it in 3 months, but I like it.
I think that one is legit, maybe one of the better books going. And when I say better books, I tend to say, if you're going to say, okay, you have to read, it has to be one of the better books in comics, not just at Marvel, all around, including indie. And there's not much, but that the one issue I read of the Aliens versus Avengers, it was really good. I just don't really care that much.
Yeah, I would put that up there with the best of comics in general. Yeah,
but the schedule is awful.
Yeah,
it's like every other month.
It's a black label, basically.
It's like a black label scheduling. It's every other month kind of deal. And also, if you're not really into the alien stuff like I'm not, it kind of, falls a little short. But all of that talk is to get to One World Under Doom. Me saying that pretty much I don't think Ryan North is set very well to be an event guy. This event is not good. It's already gone on so long that people think it's over. When things come out, we'll have a comment somewhere. Somebody will say to me, oh my God, that One World Under Doom is still going on. And then my response is, it's halfway done. It's not even close to being done. And so it just, what has happened? What is going on? People seem to review it last issue where they really liked this Dormammu fight. But what did it do? And even at the end here, I love the idea that they're praising Dr. Doom for failing way more than Doctor Strange ever did. Like, this all makes me think that Doctor Strange is A-okay, because we never saw or had to deal with this because he always had it taken care of. And yet Doom is being praised by media, and it seems legit. It seems on the up and up. Doesn't seem like he's manipulating people in any sort of way. But we'll see. But it is One World Under Doom under 5. I'll tell everybody, I'm going to keep repeating myself of what I think the whole thing is going on here. But it's Ryan North writing, R.B. Silva, on art, colors by David Coryell, letters by VC's Travis Lanham. There is that weird little, for immediate release, Latvian press office. I really think that they need to stop playing games and just put recap. Because there are many people that I said, when you ended up having the Avengers, X-Men all disappeared in that pocket dimension, I said it only explains it in the recap. And so many people said, there's no recap. I'm like, no, it's involved in this nonsense.
It's ripped from the headline stuff.
Yeah, and people see this and they're like, oh, Power Mad or New Powers That Be, Latvian Office. And they check out already, not realizing at the bottom there is a recap that somehow they decide to add info in that was never in any issues. This one's just kind of lame, but it says, Doom alone has battled the dread Dormammu to a standstill outside the United Nations. I might be a dummy. Didn't realize they were outside the United Nations. I knew they were in the Bay at one point. I just considered they were fighting in New York City. It has cost Doom dearly. His every limb broken, his body screaming in pain. But Doom's will is iron, and he has won sufficient time for all of Earth's heroes to return to battle by his side or for the fate of the entire world. And so the big play here, it's not the battle that matters. We know that they're going to kind of win, right? In this point, though, I think you even laughed at before, Doom is making construct crutches. Why? Why would you make construct crutches? So he's doing that because every bone's broken, but yet he doesn't really react well. And that doesn't play out well in a guy who's pretty much armored up. You don't really see it. But they're going to play the idea. But the battle does not matter. It doesn't matter one bit. What happens is he says, hey, Scarlet Witch, you do this. I don't know if I should. Hey, Carol, should I do it? Do it. Boom, bada bing, bada boom. Then they say, oh, my God, did you kill him? No, I didn't. I just set it up that he went back to his dimension and he can't return unless I lose power.
Yeah, as long as I'm emperor, he's good. But so that's one more reason to keep me in power, folks.
So he says that. Though, in my mind, I would think to myself, well, I don't remember Dormammu getting this crazed out and that close to doing this when Stephen Strange was the Sorcerer Supreme. So bullshit on you.
Yeah, maybe he has Doom derangement syndrome or something.
Maybe. This is the thing about this is the idea that if Doom loses power, Dormammu then can try to come and take over. It doesn't necessarily mean that he will, because you get Stephen Strange as a Sorcerer
Stephen
Supreme.
Strange can easily
be able
this.
To fight this every time.
Yeah, never had any problems on this scale, And
remember that though it's played out the idea that the general public wouldn't know, but the reason why Dormammu was able to do any of this is because Doom wasn't paying attention. He ended up, some of the defenses had dropped, and he used the power for different things to go all over the world, though I still think that didn't feel like any bit of a power drain in something of being a Sorcerer Supreme. In the meantime, they also threw in, Ryan North seemed to throw in the idea that if he, like the power, if it gets to empty, he's no longer Sorcerer Supreme. That didn't seem like it was a thing either. But I'm like, really? Like, if you get your power, we're just going back to normal, and normal was fine.
Mm-hmm.
In the things that Doom is saying that he ended up making better, not the idea that Dormammu was defeated. He's always defeated. It's that the play of healthcare, the play of schools, and that has been the thing that's pushed. That's where I'll go with what I still think Ryan North is doing. Now, Ryan North, Canadian. I don't know his political leanings, but what I've read or whatever, he seems to be a bit on the left side, which a lot of the people are. But what I think is going on, I don't think he's saying Doom is that. I think what he's using Doom as a guy who would be polarizing. Yep. One side's going to hate him, another side will love him. And what he's trying to rip into is, we'll never get anything done if there's two sides always fighting. And with Doom saying, Doom is doing some good things, but they look suspicious. But the certain people who always would be against Doom, they're never going to change their mind. They're against Doom. They don't care if he's doing good things. It's Doom. Oh, my God, he's getting good schools. Yeah, but that's going to be... Yeah, Ben at one point say, I would never send the twins there because he's probably indoctrinating people, whatever. And then Reed goes, no, it seems on the up and up. I don't care. I won't send them there. So I think it just keeps going with the idea that Ryan North wants to show, hey, look at America. You guys are always fighting with each other no matter what happens, whether good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't matter. You're always one side against the other and the rest of the world suffers. And even if there was somebody who could change everything for the better, you'll never agree and we're all screwed. That's what I thought from the very beginning. It was that, and I still do.
I agree with you. I think the problem is that Doom doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? So he's got 50 years of history of terrorizing the entire world. So for anybody to follow him just because he is doing good stuff is wacky.
And to follow him and not think he's doing other things,
that's
wacky. Because again, this is beyond even ripped from the headlines. This would be, Genghis Khan gets cloned. And all of a sudden he's like, I want to be mayor of New York. And you're like, no, you're Genghis Khan. Like, I don't want to go too crazy and start talking Hitler and things like that. But it almost is kind of like that.
Yeah,
and the idea
basically.
where that people, like you said, but I think that he's playing the deal and where he starts to show his hand again. And he keeps going back and forth. Where I said at one point, I think that he wasn't. Again, we always end up talking with this and we always bring up, American politics, which I don't love to put on the podcast, but it almost is like you can't help it. And it seemed like at the beginning, what he wanted to do was he was screwing with people. Could have been funny, but he's like, okay, this issue, Doom's going to be 100% Trump. So the people who hate Trump, they'll get mad. But the people who like Trump, and then the next issue, I'll reverse it and then get these people mad. And that'll be the whole thing where I'll show them that, hey, as I make this different, you're saying it's good, then it's bad, then it's good, and nobody can agree. And I think he was trying to do that at one point. In this one, the hand showing is where you get somebody outside of the deal in Thor who says, I don't know, in Asgard, we kind of do this shit and it seems fine. And then you're going to fight. And then when Tony gets involved, I'm like, I wanted somebody to yell, we got civil war up here, y'all. Something like that. Like the idea, it's playing now off like Civil War. I was waiting for Cap to show up and punch, Tony in the face or something. It's just, it's just surface level nonsense. And this issue, while it doesn't do that much to be awful, it doesn't do much at all. You end up where you take so long to get rid of Dormammu. And at the end, it's like, oh, did he kill him? No, I didn't kill him. I just sent him back to his dimension, set that up. For them to just have Thor arguing and the talking heads on the TVs. Again, we're seeing the talking heads, but we're not seeing enough of the general public or what it is. It ends up just being Ryan North playing this game where like, hey, this is pretty good and everything. The heroes finally got their senses together and started helping Doom because that's where it's at. Man, one world under Doom. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't like anybody in this book.
No, Thor is especially annoying to me because he comes down like, I don't know, just decreeing stuff. First of all, he's a god, and he lives in space. So why we can't compare the Earth
I like
to that.
He's like, and basically what I think, what Ryan North wanted Thor to pretty much come across is, listen, my dad was Allfather. He was controlling all the realms, and he's a complete asshole. But he does things to help. So it's fine because overall, he's kind of an asshole, but things went smooth and there was a lot of peace because of that. You need an asshole. Again, it all goes into this deal.
His piece is going in and decapitating frost giants.
Exactly. But and again,
that get out of line.
That's where you have to set up and say, listen, that's where you got to get the idea. I don't think the frost giants agree with you.
No.
But yet he's like, it's all good.
Yeah, from your perspective, Thor.
And then in Ryan North's deal, because lo and behold, he wrote Squirrel. I wanted somebody to say, hey, Squirrel Girl, check out on this one. Like, let the big boys talk. She's like, I don't know, Iron Man. I think that this is like, yeah, I don't know that we really care. Oh, Brain Drain? Yeah, shut your mouth, Brain Drain.
Brain Drain out of nowhere.
Get the hell out of here, Brain Drain. So yeah, they just end up, but even when you have, here's a classic. This is why I think this fails. Ryan North wants us to hate everybody. I like Sue. I love Invisible Woman. She shows up and says, hey, everybody, I'm going to help you. Gets this person out from under rubble, and the person goes, thank you, Doom. And she goes, I got to say, never has my code name felt more appropriate. hey, bitch, you just saved somebody. Don't worry that they're like, hey, great going Doom. She's actually that petty that she says, oh, I guess I really am invisible because nobody cares that I'm saving them.
It's just funny that the person that is directly saving you doesn't get thanked, but some magic person in the sky.
But this is the idea of you can probably take that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just love it. And then she's like, okay, everybody, watch out because I'm going to see what's going on underneath. Boom. Oh, yeah, everybody's saved. And the big play is like, oh, my God, Doom saved everyone with Protective Deal. Like, that's not, number one, that's not that interesting. Plus, he is at this moment, he is the emperor of the world. He is one world under Doom. I'd probably save some people too, because that makes you look, even if he was on the up and up. Like, you're not going to not save people and be like, screw it or whatever, even if you are playing it, but they're making it like, oh man, look, he is good. Oh man, he is. And it just seems like a lot of petty stuff where the heroes in this issue, like Sue, think man, it really sucks being a hero when you're not getting all the accolades, because it even ends up where other heroes are talking about it. Squirrel Girl and talking about the idea of who's a hero and what, and it just, I don't know, it just comes off as real petty to me. But yeah, then Thor comes in and says, hey, and I love the deal. He said, and this is where, again, this is what I'm talking about with this whole, hey, no matter what happens, you have Thor say, hey, listen, just let me talk a minute. Let's think of these things. Let's see if maybe, what I'm telling you might be the deal. And Tony listens to everything and then just wipes it away immediately by going, yeah, I thought of it as bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And then says, he goes, okay, buddy, I promise that I'd consider it. Because Thor said, listen, let me tell you a little yarn here about Asgard. I'm not from Midgard. I'm from Asgard. And there's my dad, all father, eye patch and all. Guy's an asshole, but he does things through the piece, whatever. And then when he goes to this whole spiel, Tony goes, okay, buddy, I promise you I'd consider it. And I'm doing it now. Considering, and done. like an asshole. Like, not even saying to Thor, like, I understand what you're saying, but you're a god, and we're talking about, space heaven. Like, it's not the same.
Heaven, exactly.
And also saying, listen, Thor, what you're saying, like, this is where Ryan North it's so ridiculously inane. Tony should say, listen, Thor, maybe you think you went through a damn time machine, but what you're talking about is more like feudal Europe. Like, that's not how we run things here. Your father is the ultimate warlord king who can go and lop heads off of frost giants if they do something wrong. We don't play that now. That shit does not work now.
No, we don't want to go back to that.
And him saying, like, I would say to Thor, just you bringing it up proves that this shit is bad. Like, you can't go with that. And then I'd say, listen, you think it's great? And tell Doom to go to your... right now, you have Doctor Strange of Asgard. Get his ass back here. We'll switcheroo, and Doom can rule Asgard. You can rule all the kingdoms.
Shouldn't he be a ruler of all 10 realms, too, Doom? I mean, where does it stop? I mean,
that might be the next thing. And that might be where Thor's like, whoa, like, I didn't think that would happen. But yeah, Thor's all pissed.
And also, Thor's thousands of years, millions of years old. I don't know how old he is, but you can't compare him to everybody else.
No, and just the idea, though, where Tony's like, considering, and I'm done. I'm like, Thor, smite his ass right now. Say some Thor-esque talk and just pound the shit out of him.
Smite that
I don't mean
stupid
sexy.
Costume that he's wearing.
I'm telling you, just crunch that armor all around him. And then he's yelling, his literal last name's Doom.
I mean, he's got a point there.
Yeah.
It is called Doom.
He's like, well, your last name is Stark.
Where are the funny. Fantastic Four, anyways?
Yeah, they're probably still trying to bash into the UN, even though now it's destroyed, so it doesn't matter.
Just Sue hangs out, nobody else.
Sue's there, the rest of them are out. Ben doesn't have his powers. He's, oh, woe is me, crying, doing all he can. It'd be great. I'm telling you, like, I want to have another character, like, what about them? Like, what is your last name? Iron Man? Yeah, you misogynistic prick. I need something for Thor to say, but he's like, hey, his last name's Doom. All right, there you go. That's more making fun of the comic thing going on. But, and he says, by saving us and all the other 9 realms from Dormammu, I, for one, would appreciate further machinations such as these. That's what Thor comes back with. If you think this is bad, I want more bad, because he just saved our ass.
You know what,
again,
then?
They think that he set it up, and they won't get past it. So I just think now it's the idea of we're going to have sides going. They're going to be bickering. Something big by the end is going to happen. And I think that by the end, Doom saves everybody for real. And in the meantime, gives up and says, screw all of you. They'll go away, and maybe Dormammu. I want to see if Dormammu has any effect on any of this as we go with that stupid proclamation. But again, Thor says, if loving you is bad, I don't want to be good.
Well, if Thor loves Doom so much, then you make him all father. Then give up your power to him.
I just think he's like he's just Midgard. He says at one point he seems pretty good.
He said he saved all the realms.
This is the best it's been. So then Maria Hill shows up as if she's like, I don't even know how I'd explain this showing up. Like she's like drugged out.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Look, she's got her arms in a crutch.
You know what I'm saying?
She's holding that gun really weird.
Yeah, she's in a weird deal. She has her head back.
There's barbed wire or something, rebarb down by her legs.
Yeah. I think that the play here I'm going to do it. They're like, Maria Hill? hey, Sue, Tony, Carol, everybody else. Like, she seems out of it. And then she's like, why is she saying this? She goes, hey, Sue, Tony, Carol, everyone else, I'm Maria Hill, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., what's left of it. I'm here because I know why you keep losing, bros, and I'm going to show you why. I'm like, what is she doing? And then for some reason, I'm like, I know that Ruben will like this for some reason, but yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I thought of Ruben too, but I think we might be conflating her with that other person he likes. Yeah.
It's what's her name?
Sword.
From S.H.I.E.L.D. or Sword.
Yeah, Sword.
Or
Yeah.
I can't keep
The same
straight.
haircut. He likes that.
Yeah. Well, it's S.H.I.E.L.D., Sword, they combined, but it is. It's the same kind of look. What is that? I can't even remember her name now. I even have it in the song that they play in the deal.
How do I not remember that?
He loves her. And
He loves
for
her.
some reason, I'm like, oh, there she is. I knew it wasn't, but for some reason, I still think he probably likes her too. Ay, ay, ay. Why aren't they doing this book? How do we get roped into it? But at the end, again, what you're...
Abigail Brand.
Yeah, Abigail Brand. I'm telling you, they're like twins. Abigail Brand. Hey, look at her. Her last name's Hill. I need Thor to keep trying to make it work, and it never does. Hey, what are you, Abigail Brand? Like on brand? Look at that last name.
I like that she still every day she clocks in and puts on that stupid uniform.
I'm telling you, what is
even
wrong
though S.H.I.E.L.D.
with her?
doesn't even exist, really.
She looks like I legit looks like a character straight out of South Park.
Yeah, he's got a really big head. Her shoulders
Really
are
big
really
head.
slight.
I'm telling you, I don't know how to describe this character without upsetting people, but he's kind of slow, and he ends up messing with him, and Cartman gets I can't go. And he has Mimsy as his partner, but that's who he looks like. He looks like a South Park character, but I don't know. This isn't horrible, but it's nothing. And then at the end, Thor is yelling, and he's glowing eyes, and you see people whispering, and they're already looking at other people, so it's just going to be civil war. It's going to be the idea of them not getting along because of Doom, even though they're not looking at what good Doom's doing. And it's just him on his soapbox. It's, again, 5 issues in, I may not be right, but I don't see anybody really getting an idea of, like, everybody has the epiphany. I get what's going on. I see what he's doing. I think most people are like, I don't know what's happening. A lot of political bullshit. So there you go. But what would you give this?
Regular 5. Just boring.
The art's
to me.
okay.
Yeah, it's
there are
good.
weird things because again, when I don't know why she looks like that at the end, but she's like shuffling through the wreckage, and she's like, "Yo."
It's like they copied and pasted her and stuck her in some weird background or
she
something.
Shows
Where
up.
are her legs?
Here's what I love, Tim. Here's what I love. They yell out, Maria Hill? And then she goes, hey, bros, I'm Maria Hill. Why would she say that? They addressed her. She
Everybody
goes, hey.
knows you except for Brain Drain.
She's like, I'm Maria Hill, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. What's left of it? Hey, what's going on? Like, why are you saying that? Yeah, Brain Drain's like, who the hell is this?
Can Jason do a deep dive on Brain Drain? That might be something we need.
Brain Drain? Maybe he already did.
I think it's an X-Men.
It is. It's one of the newer. This is the thing where they got rid of the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, X-Men, all the heroes, and yet what we get back when they come through and put Brain Drain.
I thought it was Glob at first, but then
Yeah,
it was that floating jar brain.
Yeah, and
thing.
it's with that stupid crazy domino mask painted on the...
How does it see then? Because it's just blocking its vision, that stupid mask.
I'm wondering why I'm seeing it. Is what I'm wondering.
And why is it so jacked?
Well, if you're going to get some body with your head in a jar, why might as well be jacked? I mean, also maybe it's just he doesn't have a lot of things to do in his free time. He likes to do things with his forearms. I don't know. Brain Drain. I wanted at one point where Tony's just like, I'm getting argued with by Brain Drain and Squirrel Girl. And then Thor's like, I'll argue with you. And then they have a fit. I just don't get it. I didn't
like how Thor was talking. There was a lot of verilies and arts and stuff.
Well, that's because he's trying to make it with that deal. And Thor should basically, at this point, when Tony's yelling at him, say, hey, guess what? F you. I'm out. You now can fight Doom without a god on your side, and don't lose my number, asshole, and just go. I'm hanging out with Doctor Strange in that stupid book that he's in, and then goes off.
So it turns out Brain Drain was created in 1975 as a villain.
There you go.
It's a Nazi.
Okay.
And then it was later became an ally of Squirrel Girl.
Okay, so,
So
it's
it's
a
a
Squirrel
Ryan
Girl
North
thing. So it's
thing.
Ryan North.
Yeah.
The best is that now you say that, Brain Drain should say, like, I think that Doom's great. And that's when Tony's like, see? The Nazi thinks he's great.
And you know what his first name is too? It's going to hit close to home to you.
What is it?
Werner.
Oh, is it Werner?
Yeah. Like with
is it
your
Werner,
name, but
is it
W.
Werner Drain?
No, Werner Schmidt.
Oh, Werner Schmidt. Oh, yeah, Werner. Yeah. I have a very German name. So there you go. There you go. There's One World Under Doom. I'm telling you, that Maria Hill, I keep seeing it at the end. It just throws me. But we have 2 months. It says, to be continued in 2 months, as if we're like, oh, man. And
No.
here, let's go through what is a bit. I'm not going to go too far in, but here's what we got between. This is the checklist. For the rest of June, we have Runaways #1, Avengers 27, Doom's Division 4, Doom Academy 5, Fantastic Four 33, and Superior Avengers #3. Nobody's reading 90% of those
I'm
books.
not reading
Then in
any of
July,
those.
you got Avengers again, Doctor Strange of Asgard, Red Hulk, Superior Avengers, Runaways, Doom's Division, and God's One World Under Doom. Just get out of town. This event is just bad. And then what we see, you see the cover for next issue. It's Doom ripping apart Reed's head. There you go.
Uh-huh.
Yep, there you go. Let's move on to the next book, which isn't going to make this any bit of a happier podcast. This is a book where me and you defended Spider-Boy from the beginning. We liked it. Probably our favorite book of the last couple of years. That's crazy, but it was. And in it, when they announced the Spider-Girl book, first off, we weren't really sure that it was even going to be this Spider-Girl. They could have done a thing with May Parker. They could have played some alternate deal, whatever. Because even with that, we have a trillion of these. I think the Spider-Verse has died like 17 times, but it keeps coming back and you keep having things. But lo and behold, it is Spider-Girl from the Spider-Boy book. #1, you said it right away before we even recorded, she's not really Spider-Girl. Spider-Girl is what she called herself to mess with Bailey. So you're basing a solo book on a character that was joking around calling herself Spider-Girl just to mess with Spider-Boy. So she doesn't really have any basis of it. Also, her power set has changed completely from the minute that she was introduced till now. And I don't know where they think that she's any bit popular enough to have her own book. She was a villain in the Spider-Man book. Right away in this, she's playing it off as being good and wants to have friends, and her mom was never dealt with. It's a weird book that I don't know how or why they would think that this would catch on.
Yeah, I mean, she was handled pretty well by Dan Slott in that Spider-Boy, I would think, as a villain.
Not to go to a solo book.
A redeemable villain.
Like, I thought what you would have next is you wait for Dan Slott to maybe, if he does come back to Spider-Boy, because if he's not coming back to... If you say to me, well, they decided Spider-Boy's not big enough and they're not going to go back to that, then there's no way there should be a Spider-Girl book.
No.
Spider-Boy's bigger than Spider-Girl. So I think you're almost thinking that Spider-Boy was so good that you needed this, or they're just mad because Dan Slott went off to do some DC Superman stuff, didn't have time to do Spider-Boy. So screw that. We don't want somebody to replace Dan Slott on Spider-Boy, so we'll throw this in an interim before we get to Spider-Boy 2. But I think it's a bad play. I could see a one-shot. I could see maybe something happening, but this just feels odd.
Or she shows up in another Spider-Boy.
Well, this is the thing. She should be, if you're going to have stuff, just have somebody else do Spider-Boy with all the things. The little girl Hulk, have all of them in it that it actually spins off. Maybe a mini where they go to another tournament. This feels weird. And
it's also weird, too, because Spider-Man's not involved, and she's using webs, and she's basically Spider-Man. I mean, there's no
even
differences.
At one point, she's saying, like, oh, man, these crazy barbed wired webs aren't good. He was right, meaning Bailey, but nobody would know that. And me and you like Spider-Boy. I recommended Spider-Boy to a lot of people. I would not recommend this as it is here. Maybe it gets better. But as a Spider-Boy fan, I found this to be less fun. I found it to be convoluted. And I found it to not be any bit anything. It felt weird. But it's Torrin Grumbach writing. Art by Andre Risso. colors by Yahava Tartaglia, and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. I'll read the recap just because it's the first.
You can read that? It's not too small for you?
I'm trying.
Right.
Believe me, I'm already hitting because now I say that and I see it. But here's where I will tell everybody. If you disagree with me, I'm talking if I say, hey, Bailey, this, if you are, you know that that's Spider-Boy, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know that there's anybody that if I said, what's Spider-Girl's name before you read this, I say, nobody would know it. Nobody remembers that it's Maka Akana. It was never, like, that shows me that the character is what it is. I like her when she's going against Bailey because she was pretty fun being just evil.
And we know she was from Hawaii, I guess.
We knew she was from Hawaii when she seemed to have Taskmaster abilities. Now it's all over. But Maka Akana has the mutant power to temporarily... Remember at one point when they said it was mutant power and we're like, oh shit, they didn't say that before.
Wait a minute. Why are we reviewing this? Let's stop.
Yeah, no, we're
this is X-Men.
Oh, so you're saying X-Men stuff?
Yeah, what are we doing?
I just thought you were saying it was bad.
No, I see
We're gonna have to bite
out.
because we have to bite the bullet on this. Maka Akana has the mutant power to temporarily mimic the skills of people she makes eye contact with. Never really played out how long that lasts or what that means. When Bullseye recruited her in his fight against Spider-Boy, contact with Spider-Boy's monster eyes gave her the proportional strength, speed, and agility of a spider, plus barbed wire webs permanently.
I don't know about that. When did that happen?
You're just making up shit.
So those come out of her body?
So she has mutant power to temporarily mimic, but she now has the powers that they're just saying permanently, but never saying why.
But Bailey doesn't even have webs. Why would she manifest webs?
Makes no sense. Newly freed from Bullseye's influence, Maka is helping New Yorkers in need as its newest Spider-Girl. There's no reason that she would do this. I think she would have went back to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And been that. Remember, she ended up where she was a cliff diver, but it was also like Instagram stuff that she was. Oh, it was pretty good. But that's it. They're already making up stuff to make a series. You're just making up shit, and it's not good. So we get into this deal, and basically what you have is Maka, Spider-Girl, going around and causing some hijinks, but talking to herself a lot. And then the narrator shifts a bit to other places, and it doesn't really do anything.
Vermin later.
Yeah, and so what happens at this point is she ends up saving New York in ways of writing "Wash Me" on the side of a building because the windows need washed, and then makes a guy not get hit by a car, but I'm not sure that that's accurate. But he says, "You ruined my suit," and she doesn't really do anything. Then she sees a guy with a bullseye hat, thinks it's Bullseye, but it isn't. And then she says, oh, I'm going to go to the Red Sword thing. And this is the thing. She goes to this dojo. She's going to train at the Red Stone dojo. So then I'm like, okay. She says, yeah, hey, I'm going to come there because I end up beating a bunch of, of the students, whatever. And I'm like, was that the one place that they were dressed up when Bailey and them, when they were in Marjapur, were they like the Bruce Lee deal? And then lo and behold, no, this is something else.
It's something different that she's been doing, but it's kind of messed up that she can just mimic any powers. She wouldn't challenge herself with these kids. Who cares?
And then she mimics powers. Also, I'll just tell, like anybody who didn't read Spider-Boy, it's freaky when she takes off her costume because we didn't really see her. Like, this is what I'm saying. The character was not really fully developed. And then all of a sudden just thrown in here as if she was. And so she's there. And then you end up with Vermin and this, mysterious lady who wants to get her. It almost mimics a bit of the Humanimals, a little, but more of the mutant side of things. Hey, we want to get these powers. She looks like Bailey.
She looks like that. The villain looks like Punchline without that stupid stuff on her face.
Spider-Girl, Maka looks like Bailey.
Yeah, that definitely the eyes and the mouth. Yeah.
And like get a missing tooth, boom, in. Yeah, and it does look like, you're right, it does look like Punchline. So she's exactly like a Punchline with a low rent magic.
Yeah, because he even has like that court jester look behind her head.
Yeah. There you go. So you got just the idea that Spider-Boy, people have problems with Spider-Boy. I don't see anybody having problems with this book because nobody's going to read it.
If you were not sold on Spider-Boy, there's no chance you're going to like this.
And I'm sold on Spider-Boy, and I'm reading this, and I was bored.
Yeah, yeah. exactly.
I kept thinking, like, what you need to do is without Bullseye, you have her in New York City. Bailey's doing whatever. Have her try, almost like what we said we liked about Bailey. Didn't really know how to be a hero and was doing things wrong. Like, she should be real wrong, or that she's trying to be this weird villain, but she's not bad enough. I don't know. There's no real angle to get her to do this to help people. Then she goes to a dojo where she's like, I remember my mom was telling me, and then her mom calls. Her mom was never really a part of any of this. And yeah. And then
I would just rather, like, for me, I think the character's fine. Don't call her Spider Girl. She's not Spider Girl.
I guess you need a tag, but that would be.
But if you had every issue or two, she was going around and doing different powers from different villains and heroes.
Something.
Yeah, mimic or something different.
Something like that.
So we could play around with something else.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's like, it's such a stretch to get this book out there.
Yeah.
It's so weird. And I'm with you. Give this to the X guys. So she goes to this dojo, and we know that Punchline Jr. here is going to try to get her. We got to get her. We're going to attack. So you know that these kids are in big trouble. She goes in. She's not real likable. She ends up like, hey, they got trophies and I'm going to beat the crap. And then suddenly you have to have this crazy Caroline who, if anything, if you're going to do this right, it should have been some of the characters from the Marge Report tournament. This is what it should be. You don't have to be in New York. In fact, I think it's a misplay being in New York.
New York's a huge misplay. We already have enough Spider people around. You already have
Bailey there, number one, which we probably won't see. You have Spider-Man. You have all those things. This should be somewhere else, maybe Hawaii. That would have been fine. Or have her just travel around.
It's interesting you say Bailey, because to me, it's like I thought Bailey was just not around anymore, but he is.
Yeah, he's just hanging.
He's somewhere.
Yeah, so it's weird. Right? So
yeah.
She should have went off and gotten, and maybe you just play the idea that she decides that she wants to take down Bullseye and goes, and that is getting in over her head and somebody helps her. I'm imagining Daredevil's just going to come in to help out because he seems to be the guy to help in these things, or we'll get that little action figure Avenger. But you end up where they go in and she wants to make friends. And this girl and her are rivals, but nothing's set up, so there's no weight to it. Then she goes in her locker, and there's a girl hanging out under the table or the chairs. And this girl's like, hey, don't let them know I'm here. I don't want to be seen. Oh, man, I wish I totally lost anything of what was going on. Plus, in a character design, looks exactly like Maka.
Yeah, slightly different haircut.
A little bit different, but not
headband,
much.
Yeah, not much.
And she's like, hey, you must be Maka. Man, you beat Carolyn. She's pissed off at you, but also has a crush on this boy. And oh, my goodness. I'm like, what? Legit, I'm asking you. I'm not even joking. This is the first issue. Does it feel like we even have the first issue worth of story?
No.
Because this seems like just ridiculous nonsense. So they go, and Vermin's going to attack. The Vermin do attack as they are squaring off. And Maka, Spider-Girl, ends up using her I'm going to look deep in your eyes abilities and gets this Caroline when I know for a fact that she's already better. She was fighting the best of the best.
It's so messed up that she would stoop to that level to just steal this poor girl's powers just to beat her with her own tricks. It's crazy. How petty are you?
And again, here's where, if we want to nitpick, this girl doesn't have powers. This girl trained.
She had one special move.
Artist. We're getting to the point of now not being mutant mimicking powers. We're back to Taskmaster being able to see somebody do something and know how to do it in that way.
Yep.
This isn't a power that she's taking from this girl. She's looking into her psyche, reading her mind, and figuring out what the secret move is in a way that is not very good, and then talk shit.
Yeah.
Like, winning is when you don't lose, bitch. And then tries to help her up and gets mad. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this. But again, what you're doing is presenting her as a complete jerk so that by the end you can say, oh, look, the softer side of Maka. And I like her now, but I liked her what she was. This just feels weird. And you have that sensei. They hear Vermin. He goes out. This Carolyn goes out, ends up actually being pretty much a hero. This girl ends up doing a flying Jean-Claude Van Damme kick into one of the Vermin. I'm like, that's a hero.
I did like when she said to the sensei, like, I know that's not allowed, but I had
she
to do
goes,
it.
It's like, why is it that she's likable, but Spider-Girl isn't? And then you end up, she goes off and says, oh, I'm going to get in my outfit as Spider-Girl, and then starts doing things with her barbed wire. That doesn't even feel right. And then says, he was right. These do stink. And then starts saying, like, man, maybe, and this is Torrin Grumbach thinks she's having a ball. Hey, Vermin, you should put on a shirt. Haven't you heard of shirts? I'm like, all right, just stop.
I don't think he needs a shirt there. He's covered in fur.
He's covered in hair.
My dog doesn't wear
He looks like
shirts.
a rat.
Yeah.
And then the one girl, I think it's that girl that was hiding. She's like, oh, look at the cute rats. I'm like, well, what the hell are you talking about?
That kid's on the spectrum, I think.
Yeah, that kid's on something. And I wanted it to show like Pizza Rat or something like that. Rats are the worst. Oh my God.
I like a good mouse. Rats freak me out.
I don't like them either. But I lived outside of Philadelphia, like in Warminster, which is closer than I am now to Philadelphia, in this apartment complex that I'm telling you, there was the building I lived in eventually blew up. And I'm telling you, probably 10,000 rats died that day. Because it was bad. It was bad. Me and my brother would look out the back window of our apartment and watch the rats. They would just mess around and do crazy stuff, and it was crazy. But it was bad. But yeah, so then she comes in, hits the Vermin with a man cover, and then yells, all this, and through the whole time the guy's yelling, "My head burns, it burns, it burns," and then she realizes, oh, he's being controlled. He's not that bad. Hey, get your other things. Then looks into his sweet eyes and then gets the ability to control rats and tells them they'll go home. Yep. Basically what happens. Yeah. And she controls Vermin for a bit, and they drag this guy away, and then they drag him down. He's yelling, my mind hurts. My mind, it burns. And then she even says, I hear, this is how you continue this. She hears the rats talking. I hear them talking about a cell. Experiments, danger, a woman, pain, and in order to kill me, whatever this is. And then you end up where it's like a drone that goes, hey, later, Spider-Girl, how do you know my name? And then you get this girl. And she's like, hey, boss, she did it. She used her mutant powers, and it was marvelous. I'm like, all right, I don't get it. So
she's in way over her head. She's way too skilled for somebody that just started out.
Yeah, and it's just not good.
Bailey would constantly mess up and do weird stuff, and this is just.
But we go from that. But if you want to at least get something, holy moly, it looks like Lady Bullseye in the next cover.
I like that. I'm a big fan of Lady Bullseye. You don't see her that much, but for
you
obvious
see a lot
reasons,
of her here. I mean, you see a lot here. Holy moly. Like, if I legit in my Sus Records thing, if I put that picture as is as a thumbnail, I'd be shut down.
Yep.
There's no doubt in my mind that thing would be yanked and I'd be done. Whew. Look at that. So, yeah, I don't know that we're going to be around. She's a mutant, right?
Yeah, I think it falls under their purview, I think.
They might say that they did do that Imperium and things like that had nothing to do with them. It's just we didn't want to do it.
Did that have any mutants in it? I don't think so.
But I'm telling you right
cosmic,
now.
Though. That's Ruben's thing.
Well,
cosmic.
That's also Jason's thing a bit, too. But it's still not their brand. But we could
have them rename it.
They're not going to do this, but I don't know that I want to. It's not very good.
I think we should give it one more. Just because I just think maybe. We'll see what's coming out the week it comes out.
Actually, when I edit this, I'm going to single that out. And then when the next issue sucks, I'll play it at the end. Well, we should give it one more.
Depending on what comes out.
We'll see. Yeah, this was bad.
I want to see Lady Bullseye in that costume.
Is it a costume?
Yeah, it's a costume.
I think the costume in MAD paint is what it was. It was
she just paints her body white and then puts some black strips on it. Puts that tape, that tape that girls put on, like in Brazil or whatever. That's what this is.
There's not a lot of it. Get this. Look at where the tape is. Then look where it isn't. And especially down below. Yeah. It's everywhere that it doesn't need to be and isn't where it should be. Ooh-wee. I'm telling you,
that is her skin color, too, which is
didn't
weird.
know that the real villain. First up, the real villain to Spider-Girl is decency, but the other one might be called Camel Toe because I'm seeing some crazy stuff there. So we'll have to see. It looks crazy, but what would you give this?
I'll give this one a 6, an optimistic
way
6.
Above. I'm a 4 at the most. And I think the art's good. I do like the art, but It's, it's kind of I'm going down to 3.5.
It's not going to be that good. I'm trying to be optimistic, but I don't think it's going to work.
Torin Grumbach, to me, if anything, is just kind of boring. I don't think she's horrible. I just think she's kind of boring. I really haven't enjoyed much of anything that she's done story-wise. But I never sit and think, like even talking about it, struggling to talk about it, because sometimes when something's so bad, we have so much fun talking about it. But this is just like kind of down the middle of the road nonsense with a character that never did enough to get a solo book. There's not enough. I'm not saying she's a bad character. I'm saying that she doesn't have the experience or the amount of issues that you can sit there, because you have to have a thing with a character where you say, oh, that's so Spider-Girl. Oh, man. The idea that before, if I would have asked you, you wouldn't have known her name was Maka Akane.
No way.
Neither of us did. It's just a character.
We have another issue of Spider-Boy, right? So maybe that would have been a good transition. Have her in that issue.
Maybe and that.
Let Dan Slott establish everything that Torin Grumbach's going to write about.
What you should have had is let that one issue hit, because I even forgot that. Have that deal in Bailey, because remember, Bailey had to decide if he's going to be Spider-Boy anymore.
Yeah.
We may find out, so we need that. And have it where he does something where he asks Spider-Girl, please, can you please watch over New York? I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to go. Me and my mom are going to do this. Or she sees, because Bailey, I don't think would ask. I think that she would see it and take it upon herself. Well, if Bailey can't do it, I got to do it. And she is kind of crazy. That's one of the things you got from the Spider-Boy, that somebody may say, well, Spider-Man still has it. Oh, no, he's not good enough. Like, that's how she is. She does think she's the greatest at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can see it, but it doesn't play out here. Instead of being the greatest at everything, it feels like she likes to punk people by stealing powers and beating them up. So, I don't know. 3.5. It's not great. But that might be the end of the podcast. It may not. Gray has been really sick. He didn't say, I asked him, will you be able to record? We record Wednesday morning. So I said, will you be able to record Wednesday morning? And then if he said yes, I was going to say, well, what books and whatnot? We have a giant size Spider-Man. We have new Avengers, Sam Humphrey, so I'm not a huge fan of, but that's a new book. Check that out. And he never really gave me an answer. He just said a lot of teachers where he teaches, a lot of the teachers are sick.
Oh, man.
So that's all he told me. And he said the kids aren't. It's more the teachers.
But if you can get Sick Gray on, he's entertaining to me. So
yeah, he was drunk during that Absolute deal. Maybe we could do that again. Because when I do record with him, it is usually his at night. That Absolute deal, it was actually Saturday morning for him. So he was already drunk when woke up and was going back to bed because he was drinking too much. He did show up on my Sus Records dance party on Saturday night, my live stream. Luckily, because I'd been doing the show for an hour and a half and nobody let me know that my mic I could barely be heard. Gray showed up 2 seconds in. He's like, your mic's too low.
He's your tech support.
Yeah, well, it's because when I end up doing things on live with people use StreamYard a lot, it adjusts my mic to, I don't understand. And there was nobody to tell me. I forgot all about it. People were yelling then. It's funny when you have a music show and you're real low, people jack it up and then the songs come in and blow their ears out.
Yeah.
It's a cool play.
I could see that happening.
I forget what group it was. They actually used that as a technique. And it wasn't like Nirvana would have the soft, loud, that sort of play. This was different where they would actually lower right before the chorus as a technical deal. So when the chorus comes in, it actually feels bigger because it gets loud again. It's pretty cool technique. Huh. It worked. It was a big thing too. So with that though, that's it for us. We're done.
You also have Ultimate of X-Men too.
Yeah, me and Jason are going to do that. So we will definitely be back with that. Hopefully Gray will be able to join me for some other books. If it's not, all the ones, but maybe that oversized, what's it called? I wanted to say
Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was going to say Big Amazing Spider-Man, but the giant size, that classic deal. But there's some Al Ewings in it. You have Chip Zdarsky, some okay things. So we'll check it out. But that's it for me and you. I'll tell Jason and Ruben. They'll hear it. They'll have some sort of drop or something about Spider-Girl. But I'm going to tell them that if they want to keep the show going, they have to do Spider-Girl.
It's in their contract.
It's now with the contract. But we'll see what they say. All right, but we'll go on to at least Ultimate X-Men, maybe more. And we're going to continue on with my man Jason. What up, Jason?
Hey, Jim. Glad to be back.
Yes, here we are with Ultimate X-Men, a book that, we might as well get it all out in the open right away. We hate the way that it progresses with a monthly schedule. So in this one, you get a flashback.
We do.
God, that was actually pretty
Peach
cool.
Momoko tries to kind of get around the constraints of the every month has to be a month by saying, okay, I'm going to flash back to, what did you say, 4 months ago?
4 months ago. I actually laughed. I actually thought, will you rule breaker? That she's like, oh, she's going out on her own. She's a lone wolf. I was like, that's pretty good, though. And actually, it gives us some info in a way that the book rarely is able to give because of that. So I don't mind it at all. But it is Ultimate X-Men number 16, written and art by Peach Momoko, script adaptation by Zach Davison, letters by VC's Travis Lanham. And I'm telling you, even just going through things, I start reading. And I don't know how I just didn't read right away 4 months ago.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, oh, my God, what? Oh, it's 4 months ago. I'm like, okay, well, that's good because we actually get a little bit of info. I actually thought, oh, you jerks, you haven't checked up on your friend in 4 months. I was like, oh, my goodness.
And it does tie right in with the end of issue 12. I went and checked because in issue 12, Hisako was hanging out at Nico's apartment. And that's where she was confronted by Kageyama. They had their little confrontation and they wound up going off together to, as it turned out, the cult. So here, Nico and Mori, always forget it, Nico and Mori, come back. Because at the end of that issue, they had done that little spell in the classroom and gotten the idea that Hisako was in trouble. So they race back to the apartment. And now we see the apartment is completely trashed. And Nico says that even the magical seals are broken.
Yeah. And the Omamori of Hisako, it's there. And I like where she's like kind of trash talking it. She's like, it appears you were not able to protect her this time. And then it starts getting that crazy, black energy.
I don't really know what's going on here because we have multiple scenes like this throughout the book where what's real, what's someone's perception. Because first we see the Omamori, bright red, very much stands out, on the ground next to Hisako's broken cell phone. We'll see later that's what it is. And then Nico looks at it, holds it in her hand with her black painted fingernails, and it turns all shadowy, all Shadow King. And then it goes back to red, and then it turns into eyes embedded into Shadow King Matrix, and then she drops it. And I thought, oh, it's gone. It's turned into this goop. But then we see again, this was 4 months ago, we see when we go back to the present day that Nico still has it. So I don't know what really happened to
I don't know. But
and it seems like this is
reacts.
such an important item. This is like a key item for the entire book.
Yep.
And I don't know what's going on.
So when it happens, and she even says, it's red, she looks at it and then says, curious, as if some, but when she says curious, it's where it's not changing. And then it does seem like she and Mori actually reacts kind of like, oh my God, what the heck's that? But like you said later, she has it. It's very odd. So in this whole play of this, there is that. But then we go and see Nico and Mori in this restaurant talking.
Now, what confused me at first, I didn't realize that this second scene at the cafe is still 4 months ago.
Yeah. And it's crazy because, again, I actually thought, and I was so confused, I thought that then we went forward, and I'm like, first off, like, oh, they're wearing the same clothes. Look at these people. They're like me. Also, when she's like, hey, should we get a hold of her mom? That does play out better when it's then, not like 4 months later of all of a sudden, oh, well, maybe we should.
A little bit better. Not that much better.
Not because
they're looking at the broken phone, and I think it's Mori who says, should we tell Hisako's mom? And the answer is yes. Yes, you should. But Nico says, well, that we can't because her phone's locked. As if there's no other way to find Hisako's mom than her own phone.
Yeah. And it was weird because at one point, if this was just the cult thing, you would say, well, they don't want, but they went to school. Like you could find out even if it was like, oh, I don't know her last name or I don't know where she lives. You can find these things out. Especially nowadays. And they're like, no, but we tried nothing and we're out of ideas. And Mori is upset more of like, I kind of liked hanging out with everybody. Like, I'm more upset thinking they might be dead. They're in big trouble. And she's like, yeah, I know, Mori, I'll try to figure something out. And it was just a weird play here because you end up having this girl come in then, and that Nico and Maury get up. They kind of walk past each other, but then you see that Nico has left her book, and
Yes.
this girl goes, and it's the girl that was talking to, what's his name, I guess, right?
It's Futaba, who has the rogue kind of haircut. And later on, we see that she has a business card that says Tebu Kuro Neko, which means glove cat. So gloves, we see she's wearing gloves, very much a rogue thing. So again, very much playing up the rogue connection.
Yeah. And the other thing is that she ended up knowing that they were going to do some things. And I guess this kind of shows that why. Remember, she's like, hey, they're going to go and attack the temple. They're going to do things, because she doesn't just grab, Nico's book. She actually goes through it.
Right.
She says it was
a
interesting.
couple months ago, Futaba said to the brother, to Tatsuya, that, I know somebody inside, I have a mole inside the cult, basically. And here we're seeing how she made that contact.
Yep. And it actually is
and it's all because
again,
she stupidly left her grandmother's notebook behind.
And it is weird because, again, it's like, yo, you left your notebook? And then, the next scene is very cinematic of, no, I lost my notebook. And, okay, but she goes back, and it seemed like it might be more nefarious. But she's like, no, I have it. I just want to talk to you. But does say, stay away from that cult. They are bad news. You don't want to get involved with them. And even says, y'all want to know where their new church is, right? And then they start going, like you said, cat glove. But, all this stuff, and says, what do you want in return? I mean, she did return the book, and she says, not a thing. Just keep in touch. You get it in over your heads. Give me a jingle and eat that ice cream before it melts. I'm like, done and done. I can finally end up doing something for somebody that they like. And she just leaves. And I was like, okay, it does fill in some of the blanks, but it's still, I don't know. There's still something missing, it seems. But at least it seems Fujimoto is kind of going back to fill in some things, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know why, dramatically speaking, it's better to have this scene out of order. Again, like you say, almost like she just decided, I should have had that scene in there. I'll throw it in now.
Is it possible that she was trying to do it the one way and she realized at this point it's not working, so I'm going to start doing it? If we start seeing more and more flashbacks to fill in, that maybe it just was that she just got frustrated with the way that it's... And we've been frustrated, so I can't say that she wouldn't, but we'll see. Maybe it's just that she wanted to keep this and Futaba and kind of introduce her and then show how it just... But like you say, it doesn't do it better than if we would have just had this before, because then we would have said, oh, that's that girl before. It would have been better, I think, but we didn't get it that way. So they keep going. And really, it's very Nico and Mori and real Nico in this issue, because they don't know where May is. They're trying to find everybody. And then there's that...
The two of them have no more connection to anybody, because Natsu has gone away right after shooting holes through her mother. So she's been gone somewhere.
We need to see what happened with her. I like her.
Hisako has been taken at this point is floating in a Bacta tank.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah. And so all this going on while they're walking around, and then Mori says, "Oh, hey, look, did you see this? Some new mutant groups tagging stuff around town with big X's." And I'm thinking to myself, "That's you guys, though, right?" And at least
it took me a second before I realized.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like, wait a second, because Mori seems very oblivious to any of this. Nico recognizes it and says, oh, they're calling themselves X-Men. And then you see in a cute little flashback type deal where you see, hey, we're X-Men. I'm like, that's pretty cute. But the idea is, oh my God, we got to find them.
Yeah, the gang's kind of broken up. Some of them seemingly intentionally, I don't know exactly why May hasn't involved Nico and Mori here. And some of them are, kidnapped by cultists.
Yeah,
so
some are kidnapped or maybe on the lam. Natsu was just like, you haven't seen her. She ended up just destroying her mother. So we go to the temple of the children of Adam in the now.
Yes.
So now we're in the present time. And this is where you have Nico undercover as Grimm. And I like at points where people just really want to emphasize the Grimm when you have Surge, because they know it's not Grimm. But you end up where she's been doing these magic trick type of things, but trying to get involved and
keeping the kids happy. I guess that's also how she gets some information, right? She makes some friends with the little kids who aren't going to be as suspicious of people asking questions. And yeah, it's not a bad tactic.
She finds out about, these people get sent to the basement they end up having these things, and it'd be great, when you go there, you're real special when you get to go to the basement.
And she uses a weird word here. What's the word she used? Let me find it. Oh, the Additon.
Yeah, Additon.
Is it
I
like
was going to say
audition?
that. Yeah, it's a weird play. I don't
Because
know.
last time or a couple times ago, they talked about going to get like something else going on in the basement, but that seemed to be different. The endowment.
Yeah,
they called
the endowment. This is
and
the
it doesn't
Additon.
sound the same, so I don't think it's a little kid version of endowment. I think it's something else.
I'm
And all I
looking
can
it
come up
up.
with is audition.
Yeah,
Adyton.
it's Additon is also a classical architecture. I'm telling you, I was really, really thrown off by it.
I think it's a
the way
little
they say
kid
it.
mishearing, but we don't know
it must
what
be.
she's been
Like
mishearing.
it's supposed to be, like you said, audition, but it kind of plays off weird in a book for stuff that's translated. So you're always going to
Exactly.
be a little worried that, like, is that a
Is
mistranslation?
it a
Am I not
Japanese
getting it?
thing? Google it with the word Japanese.
Yeah, so I'm looking. There's in classical architecture. It's a restricted area within the cell of a Greco-Roman temple.
Well,
So
that actually
that
matches
kinda-
up.
But not the way he says it, though. Right? It's like a weird play.
Inner
How did you-
sanctuary, like the Holy of Holies. So maybe the kid knows more than I do, which wouldn't be the 1st
I'm
time.
telling you, the kid's more learned than I am. But yeah, it seems like a hidden or like a sacred temple part. So that makes sense, I guess. So he's, how did you get to the Additon? Surely someone so blessed should know. And like you said, I like the idea where you're getting, and I'll tell you too, you're centering a lot on Nico this issue. So you kind of do get the play of her, how smart she is. Also, where you said this little kid, she's talking to him to get info, but in a way that a kid wouldn't realize that she's only talking like, oh, how about that? Like, wow, you're so special. How did you go? And he's like, not me. You got to get picked to go. So she's getting info, and that's where she's like, okay, well, now
And
I kind of know
The
more.
person who the kid says has been to the Additon so much is a girl, teenage girl, kind of sitting on the ground, her face covered, kind of crying and sniffling. Turns out it's Hisako, or at least somebody who looks like Hisako. I assume it's Hisako. Could be
It
a
has
clone.
to be. I mean, well, yeah, you could have that, but in the meantime, yeah, Nico's like, wait a second, Hisako, wait, it's me, and start chasing her. And the thing that's weird is Hisako is avoiding her, but not like running, avoiding her, but kind of slipping.
Yeah, just
away
kind
a
of
little.
takes off, heads down into like corridors where they're probably not supposed to go. So you can imagine the kind of zigzagging, trying to. Nico's trying to find her friend here in the corridors, and Hisako doesn't say a word. Not a sound, nothing.
You get at one point like she's a Metal Gear Solid. I should have the sound effect where she turns a corner and you see a couple of exclamation points. She doesn't say anything, but then when you see her and the deal, she's kind of like just kind of slipping away, like just walking away. And then Meister's right there. That's the crazy thing. And you end up where Nico's like, it's Nico. And he's like, oh, Miss Grimm. Who's this Nico? I'm like, uh-oh.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, you could come up with something like, oh, it's just a fun nickname or something, but he seems on it. And I love her reaction. It's like Nancy. She's like, ugh, like this stuff going on. And he's like, and who, pray tell, is this Nico? I'm like, he is so creepy. But while that happens, this little kid ends up saving her, kind of. And I'm like, I don't know if Meister, he's not real crazed up to figure this out, because it just kind of lets things go. It was
I
weird.
think because other people showed up who were now
He's
witnessing
like
the
trying to
scene.
make it seem like he's cool with everything, like he's not
or at
doing
least
anything.
whatever awful thing he would have done if it was just the two of them. Now he kind of has to either, do it to all three of these kids.
But I
or
kind of
move on.
expected
And also,
him to kind of
that little green
Yeah.
kid brings Surge with them. And Surge, we know, is kind of important to Meister, part of some plans, certain powers. So, yeah, Surge is there, and Surge kind of recognizes something is
and
up.
I like the way it's played because she wasn't like, she was more involved with May, more
Yeah.
involved with Hisako, and she kind of recognizes Nico as being friends with them, but not really going, and then really kind of goes with them.
Yeah, I didn't go back and see what scenes they overlapped in, but it makes sense that she would kind of know of her, but wasn't someone she really interacted with.
Yeah. So all that's going in. Again, I thought Meister was going to say like, oh, I want you to come to my office now. Here, come with me. And then end up doing something. But doesn't really do that. And then the Omamori is there, and that's where you see it again.
Yeah, we're now
where
a
it's
little
not
bit
messed
later
up.
that night, apparently. They're at dinner, and we see Nico now has the Omamori, and it looks perfectly normal. Still red, no creepy eyes in it, just a regular Omamori.
Yep. And that's when Surge comes in. They're eating. Everybody's, well, I guess they're talking. It's odd. They're like, I think they might be actually silent. But Surge comes over and says, "Hey, what the hell are you thinking? I see you snooping around." And it's kind of a crazy play where Surge is just like, don't, mess up my groove here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she says, don't mess this up. This is my sanctuary. This is where I go, and you're going to mess it up for what you're doing.
We know that after #MeatCase, the cult has a bad stink around it to the public. So they had to leave their main temple, and now they're kind of off in their hidden away somewhere temple, which is why Nico couldn't originally find it without some help. And I guess Surge really enjoys having this place as, a respite from whatever else is going on in her life. So she's not really into the whole gung-ho cult thing, but she likes having this spot for her to hang out.
I'm sure she likes to have a place to hang out. There's the kids there. She eats.
Right.
She's
she probably gets treated
up.
as she's important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she probably, and we see, legit, we're far from it a bit, but at one point she was kind of like, having guys pay her to have dates.
Yeah.
It wasn't the greatest of life, I think. But you end up where Nico says, "Hey, if you want to talk, can you power down? I can't eat in peace here," because she's just surging it up. She ends up where, and then you just have, "Okay, everybody, utensils down, everyone, let's get ready for bed." And Surge is pretty pissed. Like, again, she says, "Don't mess up anything." And when she says nighty night, I'm like, oh, she is pissed. And she is really upset. And she goes, "You get one warning, Grim. Try it again, and static is the last thing you'll ever taste." Night to night. It goes up. I'm like, holy crap.
Unpleasant.
Yeah, but then you end up where Nico ends up, she seems like she can't sleep. I think that's why the thing where Maury never knows anything, because I think she just is oblivious to everything. She's like sleeping. She don't care. But in the meantime,
is Maury there?
Yeah, I think she's in the bed underneath. Maybe it looks like those.
I don't think
ears.
Maury's there with her. I think that's just rolled up in sheets. I see
thought it was that
with
the ears or whatever, but it may not be. But Maury's family and stuff were involved in the cult.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know.
So I don't know. We don't know. There's a lot of things that are still there. So
Nico
end up
wants to get up. She hears snoring from below. If it was Maury there, then she wouldn't have to wait for Maury to fall asleep, because Maury would be in on the shtick. So Nico sneaks outside to make a phone call, and we'll see later on that she's making the phone call to May, but it doesn't get through, no signal, and that's when Surge shows up again, and she already had her one warning. So,
yeah, one warning is all you get. So they start fighting. Looks great. There's a lot of the battle back and forth with Nico versus Surge. Surge kind of laughing the whole time, at the beginning at least. But I like that she gets upset and she's getting more and more angry at Nico, because Nico is able to kind of deflect stuff and grab energy with her staff.
Thinks this is going to be over real quick. She's used to being the powerful one in any confrontation. And it turns out Nico is super powerful, can turn around all the electric zappy shocks, can kind of capture Surge in some sort of binding purple energy. So yeah, Nico is clearly the stronger one of this pair. And we don't really know what her power level is, what she can do. This is the first time we've really seen her cut loose in a
it's
combat
pretty big, because
situation.
we've seen Surge kind of kick some butt. So I like the idea that I think Surge really took the idea that Nico seemed very calm and not angry, that she was like, oh, I'm going to wipe her up, and then doesn't, and ends up, even like you said, ends up enveloping this purple energy around. She's able to grab the stuff, and you see Surge is just like, how the hell do you do that? Even to the point where it seems like she's crying. And you end up where now you have, where Surge says, you want to find your friend. There are no friends of yours here. We're only the elite, only the chosen ones. And says, oh, you said May and things. And we know that she hates May. Her and May ended up having a bit of a tussle.
Right. That was the first real big fight.
Yeah, and the idea that Surge was having a paid date with it seemed as if it was with May's dad.
Right.
So that was not good. That was probably the worst of the things that happened. It was very creepy. But the whole play comes down to, Kageyama, and they're kind of going back and forth. And she says, "You want to know about Kageyama? I've been wondering where he was to think he was with your friend the entire time. All I got to say is screw you." And it's like, it feels like we're getting info, but at the one point I'm like, I don't know how much info we're getting. They're
much.
going back and forth, but there's not much. But I don't mind because at least there's things being said out loud that I'm like, okay, this is leading to something, but I'm still frustrated. But I love at the one point, the biggest trash talk in this issue, though, is Nico starts flying. And you end up where Serge says, "You can fly." And she's, "Oh, how sad. You can't." It made me laugh so much. Like, I thought you were superior. But that is kind of the trigger deal to then. And you go from there because then it's like, oh, crap. Like, what is happening here?
So it looks like, again, the tables have turned and Nico's clearly the stronger one. And she's really smug about it. And then we get a page turn. And no, she's caught from behind by another cultist, a boy who has like long tentacle arms. I don't know if he matches up with any particular X-Men character or just fleshy guy, almost like the character's skin a little bit. But yeah, just grabs her and grabs the wand away from her. They're being held in separate tentacles, so I guess that means she's, can no longer do anything.
The weird thing about it to me, though, it looks like Hisako. I know it. To me, I even thought, okay, it's a boy, but it's weird. And I'm telling you,
the blank look on his face is similar to what we just saw in Hisako. I'm telling you, that's really the only similarity.
It may be. I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, I'm not like you. We might find out that they did some experiment stuff, and I don't know. It's crazy. But
they're all
you
wearing
keep
the
going.
same clothes. They're cultists. They they have the same haircut. Yeah, it's a different guy. And then we see that it's not just this one guy. It's a bunch of cultists and the Meister.
Yeah, he's there and says, "I'd say you're far from being a true Homo superior."
And we knew he was already really suspicious, and now he knows he had good reason to be suspicious. So we don't see what happens next because it gets cut off, as we always complain. But yeah, we can tell she's not going to be able to talk herself out of this.
No, she's in trouble now. And Serge might be a bit in trouble too for just doing what she was doing, but we'll have to see. But remember that at one point, like, we did think that we were going to, they're going to raid the compound and and all this, but we might end up having a way to get out. But she's in big trouble. Like you said, it's not going to be able to say, "Oh, look, I'm Grim and I'm doing stuff," because you just went a little too far. But
yeah, there's been talk, like you say, of the others raiding the compound, and Nico better hope that happens soon because that's really the only
that's
way
what I kind of
she's
go
going to
with
get
the
out of
deal.
this.
But again, the jump and it's such a weird place. So, but but then it kind of does go and end. But the thing is, you end with then a weird play with Cannon with her brother, and then you get. Remember when we were talking about the idea of like, did he just leave her and things? And then he's there and he's like,
what a weird scene.
Yeah, it's so weird. He's like, "Sorry, I left you. I know I get scared."
We jump the next day, maybe it's daytime, and it's at a playground somewhere, and it's the brother and sister hanging out, and he's kind of apologizing for things. We also find out that Futaba is his ex-girlfriend, apparently.
Yeah.
So and that's also, apparently, he dumped her, which sister thinks is crazy. Why would you
she thought it was ridiculous. Yeah, and pissed off about it seems. But but you keep going because
and the kid Cannon Psylocke, she's totally fine with it. She's like, yeah, whatever. She's I believe the word is Genki, Jim. We would describe her as Genki, perhaps.
Yes, Genki.
Where the brother, anti-Genki, I think is the word. Where he's very morose, kind of sitting there. But he's happy that she's doing well.
Yeah, it's just, I think there's also a cultural thing because I'm telling you, it feels weird that he's like, yeah, I kind of smacked you and left and we were upset.
Yeah.
It was a weird play.
Another mini flashback because we were wondering what happened because after the meat case thing, he kind of disappeared. And we see this very brief flashback where they had an argument where he wanted to just bug out. She wanted to stay behind. And we see him hauling off and punching her in the face. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I like where he's like, "I'm sorry I did that." She's like, "Well, I'm kind of pissed off that you did slap me, but I gave it to you twice as hard back." And I'm like, I don't know.
She's fine. I'm way more
care.
upset on her behalf than she is.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, he's like, "I'm your big brother, but I left." I figured it'd be okay. It's just crazy stuff.
Punches his little sister and then abandons her. That's what happened. Good Lord.
And so while this is going on, you end up where Cannon goes, whoa, a text from, I thought, and that's the thing. I thought at first she said a text from me. And I was
Right.
like, what the heck? Oh,
Because
May.
it's MEI and then exclamation points. So the I really blends right in.
So
But no,
I
it's
really
May.
thought it was going to be a play if somebody was like impersonating her or something like that. I'm like, oh my goodness, but it's from May. And then she just yells, I got to go. And then he says, wait, I'm coming too. And then, you end up where they're going to all get this. This is the thing, though. I figured they'd all go off to the temple and whatnot going on, but you have that jump again. And so I'm kind of worried about it.
Yeah,
But
so they all get in Futaba's car. Futaba just shows up out of nowhere. And then we get to see the text. And the text from May says she got a call from Nico, didn't pick up, tried to call back. Nico didn't pick up. So that must have been the phone call that didn't connect.
that was the phone call. And in the
because the phone
playground.
was taken away, obviously she's not able to talk right now.
Yep. Yeah.
And then we see Maury is all upset. What do? I'm coming over. And then we see Psylocke, Cannon's also part of this group chat, and she's also coming over. I do like the little icons at the top of all the different
I like
characters in the group
Natsu.
chat.
Look, we haven't seen Natsu in a while. I miss her. Also, I just have to say, when Futaba's car comes, I don't know why, but with that vroom there, I thought it was the General Lee. I thought. I'm telling you, it looked at me. I'm like, hey, we got Dukes of Hazzard here. I was like, what's going on? And I don't know why. It was just because it had that there. It made me kind of have a weird look of it. But it's a weird issue. We get a lot with flashbacks that fill in some space. We're going forward where, oh God, Nico's, they grabbed her. They know the jig is up, and we got to get there. So
and Hisako was interesting too, because last issue Hisako was apparently virtually comatose with wires coming out of her, and now she's among the general cult population, just wandering around.
Yeah, just wandering
not
around,
talking
though.
as far as we know, but looking, much more
reacted.
alive.
I mean, it wasn't like Nico said, "Oh my God, Hisako," goes over, and Hisako just like, "Huh?" And like, she got up and was kind of trying to slip away,
We
and
know
that was
that
weird.
Hisako felt super guilty about Tsubasa. That's how Kageyama kind of got her in that first place. So she must be still feeling guilty, I presume, and just doesn't want to see her friends because she wants to wallow in her guilt. That's all I can come up with.
I'm looking at even the Dawn of a New Mutant Cult. I'm looking at the solicit for this, and it just doesn't really say anything. But what's new is not always what's better as Hisako's dark era spreads. ... I'm like, all right, I don't know what you're saying, but I liked it. And I think I feel like more is happening. But then when I think about it, it's not a ton.
Not
but
a
at
whole
least
lot.
it sets up some things to happen. A lot of the times we've been doing this, and everything is like kind of treading water, repeating things, having of the mind, all that stuff. So I think I might like it a little more than the last couple issues, but it still needs a lot to go forward. It needs to get some more.
Yeah, it has an action scene. I'm going to say that as much as I like Peach Momoko's art, the action isn't really her strong suit. I mean, the fight is fine, but it's not like watching some
I like
real
the colors
kick-ass.
in it, but I couldn't just say it's just them, power.
It's
versus
just zap
each other.
this way, zap
That's
that
what it
way.
is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I like the colors of it. I thought it was cool. And even like the individual panels where you have Nico and the staff kind of twirling around, that's neat. But like you said, it doesn't really, there's no real choreography. It just ends up, there's Surge and she's surging out. And there's Nico twirling her staff. So I'm with you with that. The strong point for her isn't the action. It's, I guess the strong point is the strong point, I think, is just normal scenes and them doing things, and maybe even
the
some
settings
of
and
the settings,
the characters. And again, the facial reactions
emotions
aren't hyper detailed, but it's cartooniness. It conveys the emotions.
Yeah, I like that. So what would you give it?
Yeah, I think I'm also with you, a little bit better than usual, but it's still not great. Again, this is going to probably read fine in trade, but we're reading it month to month, and month to month it's not giving us enough to really make me happy. So I guess that's going to be a 7 out of 10 for me.
I'm a 7. I'm a 7 as well, and we've been giving 6s. So it's jumped up a bit, but it'd be nice to get up to an 8. To get up to an 8, though, some things are going to have to happen. You're going to have even a couple issues that kind of give us, because I think that the book itself, just the way Peach Momoko does it, it leaves you kind of off balance. And then you kind of have to figure, but it's not like a mind bender. It's just like you got to wring out the little bits that you get. And we need some more. But I still like it. I still like talking to you about it. So we will go off, though, because I'm going to go off and talk with Gray, more Japanese stuff with Gray. Though this past weekend, Gray got sick. And I actually said to him before we recorded, he thought he had the vid. He went and got checked, but it was bad. But
the one-niner?
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up right before I ended up talking to him. We're about to do the Absolute podcast that we do at DC, and he didn't sound British, and he was stuffed up. He sounded like he was from Texas, and I said, "You sound like you're from Texas."
Has it been put on the whole time? He just wants to sound more intellectual, so he puts on the British accent?
I say that. We go and do the show. Afterwards, he's like, "Oh, I'm going to bed." And again, this was Saturday morning, his time. So he was going back to bed because he didn't feel good. Dr. Matt gets a hold of me like an hour later and goes, "Why does Gray sound like he's from Texas?" I said, I told him. And he didn't believe me. He didn't believe me. It was so weird. His accent was completely gone. It was wacko.
Suspicious.
But
Highly
it's back,
suspicious.
though. I ended up where we record some of these books, we record out of time. His accent is back, but I'm a little wary of it now. I think he might be trying to pull the wool over.
Suspicious like the Meister.
Exactly, with those bulging eyes. But that's that. So thanks, Jason, for joining me once again. And everybody make sure that you listen to the Weird Dose of X, where Jason and Ruben deep dive, I hear. It is a learned edition.
That's what I'm told.
When I end up you share the same system. So when you record with Ruben, we end up having, it's the fight for the sound effects. Every sound effect used to not show up because I didn't have it, right? That whole play. Now the only one that doesn't show up is the theme song that I have, and I don't get it. I don't get it. So I'm told that the theme song will not load up, and every time I get on, I want to listen to the theme song, and I can't. So there you go. Oh, well. It's not a big thing, but it's just odd. But yeah, and Jason and Ruben go.
We did. I know it's not an X-Men thing, but we did do a real long talk about that new Hickman Imperial thing this week, because we do X-Men stuff and any Hickman junk that you, Jim, just can't be bothered with. That's like what we do. So if you want to know what the Hickman thing's about, come on over.
Yeah. And I mentioned it before on our Me and Matt talking, I said, because I thought people would be like, "Oh my God, they're not talking about it." So I did point them in your direction, though you wouldn't have heard it. But right before me and you recording this, Dr. Matt claims that you guys have to start doing Spider-Girl. He goes on and on because in it, she has mutant powers. So he's like, "Okay, we're done. It's theirs. She's a mutant." She changes every time she shows up. So I said, I think my exact quote is, "They ain't doing Spider-Girl." So there you go. But if you wanted to check it out, because it is spelled out, she is a mutant. So
I'll at least read through it. That's a spin-off of Spider-Boy, I guess, right?
It's a spin-off for Spider-Boy. Spider-Boy I really like. I don't know that we had enough Spider-Girl to actually justify a book with her, but you'll hear the game. But I'd like to hear what you think. Torin Grunbach.
Grunbach is to you.
Who is not my favorite, but it's not bad. Just sometimes boring. But I think she's struggling to get the character to be viable for a deal. But you'll hear Matt talks about it. He says, "You guys got to do it because she is a mutant." I said, "Yeah, right."
I will listen skeptically, just like the Meister and just like you would.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Just like when somebody suggests I was going to read and review Imperial. I'm like, that ain't happening. I'm like, Jason and Ruben. I even actually told, before you told me, I said to Matt, I said, "I have a feeling that Ruben and Jason are going to take care of this one, so we're not doing it." So with that, though, thanks for joining me, Jason. Thanks for going through this. And I hope people are still enjoying The Ultimate Line. This is the book that I'm enjoying the most, and it's got to pick up. So hopefully it does. But with that, we're going to go off to Gray and me talking more books. And we're going to end with 2 books, and to do those 2 books is Gray. What up, Gray?
What up, Jim? How you doing? Are you Genki?
I'm not. I ended up mentioning, now in between, I forgot that we were going to be talking about Ultimate X-Men, me and Jason, but at the end of me and Matt's segment, I said we might be hearing from Gray, we may not. I said that you were sick, maybe with the vid, but you tested negative for the vid. They stuck that thing up your nose.
You know that one that goes up your nose and it makes you cry? I cried, Jim. I cried like a little boy.
Oh, my goodness. Up your nose with a rubber hose.
Jesus.
But here we are. We have 2 books to finish up things, and we're going to start with a book. I don't know. I didn't hear any hype for it. I didn't hear anybody
Same.
really saying much, but it is New Avengers #1, written by Sam Humphries, art by Tone Lima, colors by Rain Barreto, VC's Joe Sabino on letters. And I don't know, I've seen this kind of cover. Like it's a very much, hey, look, we have a team book. These are the characters. Maybe it's cool. And I think it's pretty cool. The characters on it. I mean, right at the front, though, you have, and it's kind of funny the way it goes. It almost feels like the cover is the order of introduction, even as we go a bit, because you have Bucky and Black Widow, Natasha on the front row, and then you have Laura Kinney, the Wolverine. And that's who really this issue focuses on, but we'll also end up getting Namor as well, which is pretty
Just
cool.
a little bit of Namor.
Yeah, and again, it kind of gets thrown in. It's a weird play because one of the things that I liked is it doesn't say One World Under Doom on the cover, yet it ties in more than some One World Under Doom books tie into. Some don't even mention Doom or whatever. This actually does. You actually start out with Bucky going to the New Mexico desert and talking to a guy. Now, this guy is supposedly like ratting out his fellow, townsmen. Where's the town? I mean, this town looks
this is
like
really
it's just,
remote, isn't it? In the middle of nowhere.
What did he rat out 3 guys?
Earl, Jim, poor old Earl, or is it
Earl
poor old
looks
Earl?
looks like Jason Robards to me,
He looks, I don't know who he looks like here.
or like a
Weird.
Doctor Who, or like. But he's there, and Bucky's having this conversation with him as if, hey, this is an old friend. He goes, and then Bucky says, listen, you kind of been ratting out some people for Doom. That's not how you do it. And the guy's like, oh, no, you don't get it. Like, they're giving me better gas prices and oil prices because he runs a gas station. I don't know how much gas he's selling.
I'm just a realist, man. I don't know nothing about the rest of his machine.
It's the worst. And the idea, like, maybe if you sell 10 gallons a day, you really have to get that profit level going. So he does it. But Bucky ends up blowing the station up, I guess killing the guy.
I thought he did, but if you look, Jimmy, you can see him there. Yeah, I thought, wow, Bucky.
Yeah, I
lethal.
thought he did. Now I see. But, I mean, didn't he kind of kill him anyway? I mean, the guy lives in the middle of the desert and has his house, it seems, and gas station blown up.
Oh, God.
So, and Bucky walks away like a badass, as he does. Right? So he ends up, and then Natasha comes in. I love the idea. He goes, hey, I can't believe you snuck up on me. Yeah, I can't either, because you're on open desert. What is she? Like, hide behind a sagebrush? He had to have seen her coming from a mile away. There's no way she could. And I think that it might be playing that wink, wink, but I think maybe Sam Humphries forgot about the lay of the land, because there was no way anybody's sneaking up. But
She waited for the explosion, Jim, and that was a distraction. Then she kind of dropped out of the sky, I guess, or somewhere,
poked up like a, Bugs Bunny out of a hole. I don't know. If we saw her, she's dressed like a groundhog or something, would be funny. But they go make sweet love, because they have been doing that lately.
Make them Marvel sexy again, Jim.
Exactly, they are. And this whole play is Bucky saying, I don't want to be a team. I'm sick of teams. And Natasha saying, we're going to be a team.
Come on, I've got a mission for you, Bucky. She's like trying to sell it. He's like, no, not having it.
Yeah, and some of the stuff in this, it is kind of like generic team getting together, team building kind of thing, where Bucky says, I'm not involved. Screw this. And then Natasha mentions, well, but they're kidnapping people. And then he's like, oh, and he turns around and says, okay, what's the job? And they end up seeing it. In the meantime,
I like the
cool.
banter, Jim, though. And it's a bit dialogue heavy, but I like the voices for the characters. That's what a little bit surprised me. And I like Bucky and Natasha.
Yeah, and in this,
They go well together, don't they?
Yeah, and there's not a ton of books we're loving. So I'm kind of giving this a wide berth anyway for a first issue, so that I can end up, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, Sam Humphries right now is going to have to prove to me, not that it's good, he's going to have to start proving that it's not bad, because I just want to like some books, and this feels like it could be one of those books, like a Red Hulk or something like that,
Yeah,
that me
which
and
we'll
you
both
might
enjoy.
end up liking, that we look forward to each month. So I'm kind of going with that.
What do you think of the art? Tone Lima with the art. I like it. It's a pretty cool style. It's distinctive, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's not like an anime style, or a thing, but it has that like sharp lines type
Yeah,
thing.
there's something about it that makes me think a little bit anime, a little bit. But the action scenes are great when they come in
Maybe
later.
video games more than
Oh,
deal.
yeah,
It has
yeah.
that, but I do like that most of the main characters, have a lot of eyeshadow on, as if they're goth. But you end up,
my.
especially Bucky later, when he goes and meets Laura, I mean, he's really on heavy with the eyeshadow. But you end up where Bucky, I like that he's also staying in this water tower. And when they're up in there,
That's his base.
even Natasha's like, you put me in a tin can here. But they're talking about this job. And when they're getting this thing, it's like, hey, we need a team together. We need to go because they're going off to Russia to try to stop. These people have been kidnapped. You don't get much of what the plan is, but he ends up saying it's a dirty world. We're going to fight dirty, and I have somebody that we can end up getting. And
Dirty,
it is,
Jim.
again,
The only way to fight.
Exactly. So they end up going there, and they do have Laura, Wolverine, showing up and said, hey, do you trust her? Do you think she's good? And Bucky's line is, I didn't call Wolverine. I called her. That's okay. But then what we'll do is we'll go like that classic first issue with the team. You have the current fight going on, but then we'll go back to see how they're recruited. And again, it's basically Bucky. Like Bucky said, I don't like teams. I'm not in teams. Natasha says, well, this is what we need to do. And he's like, I'm in. Laura says, I don't like teams. I'm not a big team guy. Why don't you go get who you usually get? Captain America, Captain blah, 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 Captain Marvel, all these. And he's like, no. I need you because of your vibe. Because she says, I have a different vibe.
Lecturing me, judging me, Jim. That's what she's worried about.
Exactly. She doesn't want to be looked down on for what she does. And I don't know. I love Laura. I don't think of her as being looked down on as much as she's saying, but you end up where she goes in and she's just slicing and dicing people.
She's awesome. Yeah, she rips them apart, literally, doesn't she?
Yeah, and I argued with people before recently where some people are like, oh no, DC, they have so much killing, and Marvel, no. Marvel will at this one point, Laura comes in, rips a guy's mouth open, and then puts her claws through the top of a guy's head out his mouth. That guy's dead.
That's my favorite page in the book. It's a cracker.
It's funny too because when she does it, it looks like she's attacking a vampire because her claws are coming out and they look like fangs out the guy's mouth. I'm like, that is pretty badass.
Oh,
but yeah,
nice.
Bucky goes and finds Laura. She's on the team, and then they go and see that there are people, a ton of people.
I've just seen the eyeshadow scenes that you were talking about.
Yeah,
it really stands out
like
now,
really in
doesn't
there.
it?
Yeah, looks like an old guy wearing like eyeshadow. Almost goes with like an Alice Cooper look, how he has it. So you end up where they find these people. They go in, they just rip through this compound.
They do.
And they end up
take out the soldiers,
people.
the guards, go inside, and what do they see? A group of quite scary-looking people, but also scared-looking people.
Yeah, there's some scared people, and then they're like, hey, we got to get out of here. And then this one lady with 3 eyes, they're like, oh, God. And, yeah, they're kind of thinking that in their mind, in my mind, they're like, okay, that was kind of easy. But then they go into this other deal, this other big building, and there is this big, giant machine. Yeah. And it ends up having these doors.
It's got a series of doors numbered up to 7 in Roman numerals, Jim. That's fancy.
Yeah, it is very fancy. It's not just one to say, it's in Roman numerals. I'd be like funny where Bucky's like, I don't know who this VI guy is, but I don't like him. But the Jackal shows up. He's just there. That felt weird.
I didn't know who this was because I've lost like lots of comic book geek points here, but I thought it was like a grown-up gremlin, like a giant gremlin wearing a white suit, Jim.
It's a weird white suit in my mind, but he's like, hey, everybody, what's going on? And like, hey, the Jackal. And like, oh my God. And then Laura, who's not familiar, says, oh, he looks bad. And like, yeah. And Bucky explains he's usually a Spider-Man deal, but I don't know what he's doing with this lab and this army in Russia. It seems very odd.
Very sus.
He starts playing game show. It's like, what's behind door number 3? And he's like, hey, we're going to release the doors. We have the 7 here. What's going on? It says, I'm releasing the big guns. And you do then have Bucky who's like, no, I don't think so. And I like that everybody's like, what are you doing, Bucky? He just blows the place up. He ends up pressing a button and blows it up. But that seems to open up these doors.
I thought he did. Like, Jim, what was weird, though, I think it's like, he hits this like remote control, it seems to blow it up, but we also see in the explosion, something comes like flying into the building.
Flying in, yeah. So it must be.
We'll find out who this is in a minute.
Again, yeah, in a minute. And it's those those Roman numeral doors also were just about to open, so it seems like they're coming out of there. But then we go off to Canada, and we do another flashback to get Namor. And Bucky's there. It's weird, too, because Bucky's there, and this involves this trigger mechanism type deal that didn't seem like it would be, one-to-one. Like, we're more seeing Namor in my mind, not, how did he get this device to blow things up? I just thought it was just, it's Bucky with stuff, and he blows stuff up.
Well, Nimmo was saying, there are killer whales that are really angry at you right now. So I think it's a sonic device that calls Namor. It's like a dog whistle, Jim.
Yeah, really?
Is he a dog?
He is, maybe. So Namor ends up, talking about, hey, stop doing this, whatnot. And he says, I don't like joining teams. Everybody who gets recruited says, what is this? The Thunderbolts.
That's a good line.
Yeah, and I do like this too.
That made me laugh.
Because you end up where Bucky goes, no, this isn't a team. It sounds like, and then when he starts explaining, he's like, yeah, kind of is a team. But says we're, going to do this and try to get together. And he says, Namor says, I'm Atlantean royal blood and royalty belongs with the Avengers. Again, I think that's why they're like, well, we're calling ourselves the new Avengers. So Namor just
Did you get to see Thunderbolts, the movie, Jim? Because that was a big reveal about it. It ended up being, actually the new Avengers. That's why it had the asterisk in the title, Thunderbolts.
Exactly. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it. So with that, this kind of ties in a lot to it seems.
Yeah, I think there are a few mentions, aren't there, like little references to it throughout. Tell you what, Bucky's so cool in the movie. He's awesome.
You mean in the movie? I want to see it. But in the meantime, Namor, this explains he's there now, and he comes in.
He looks pretty cool too, doesn't he? I'm not a big fan of Namor. I don't know about you, but I like him. I like this version of him.
I like it, and it feels like the team right now with Laura saying, hey, I have a bad vibe nobody likes, and then Namor says, hey, I get angry, and it seems like the play here, even for Bucky, is let's be on this team, and we could be angry. We could be jerks, but we'll point the jerkiness towards bad guys to be, because even when Namor shows up, he says, okay, where shall I direct my fury? Like, over there, dude. Like, all these people attacking us. But yeah, so
this next scene here, Jim, where we see, Namor, he seems to be helping up Laura, Wolverine, but he's going, the Wolverine. And she replies, the king of kelp. There's some good lines in this.
It'd be funny next. A bitch. That's what he should do. But you see
Put your clothes away.
These doors are opening. And that's where they're trying to figure out, oh, my God, what is it? And right away you see, wait a minute, it looks like Iron Man.
Iron Man, which it is.
Silhouette. They're like Iron Man. And then you see where this team looks like, well, they even say, I don't know that Jackal understands this, but this is the Illuminati, but it's in these weird, transformed, wacky character ways. You end up having this crazy, looks just like, I don't know what, a Cronenberg type Iron Man.
My God, Jim, it's body horror, isn't it? Crazy.
Yeah, it is. And then it just, Mr.
I was wondering,
Fantastic
do we call them the negative Illuminati, or is it the anti-Illuminati?
The anti, because it ends up where that Reed Richards is awful.
It's horrible.
Like, he is the worst. It looks like intestines is what it looks like. It doesn't look like he just
cool.
gets around. Yeah, Doctor and Black Panther, pretty cool. Like those two, Doctor Strange and Black Panther, got the easy part of the stick here because they look pretty cool. But it ends up being this Illuminati, which they recognize right away. Hey guys, I recognize the characters. Well, in that, you have to think then if it's the Illuminati, there has to be a Namor, and Namor shows up horrific.
Oh my God!
It looks like an octopus baby. Doesn't it look like a big baby? With those pants look like a diaper, so let's kick that thing right out of here. But yeah, even Doctor Strange, and they're going on about this thing, but we don't really know exactly what.
I was getting Mr. Mxyzptlk vibes a little bit as well, from Superman. Oh my God.
Disgusting. Oh. So they just...
What's he called? He calls himself Imperious Rex.
Yeah, Imperious Rex. But he said he looks like a goofy, mad ball. And so they're fighting, and the big play is, Laura's fighting this Iron Man, and there's a lot of trash talk, and you end up Namor's really pissed at Jackal. How dare you clone anything like me? This is the worst, and I'm going to take you down. While everybody's getting intestine stretchy Mr. Fantastic all over him because they're just yelling, and Namor ends up, he's about to kill the Jackal, and Bucky says, "Don't kill him. We need to talk to him. He's the only one who knows what the deal is." And all of a sudden, boom, they end up, I don't know what just happened. And it did look like, somebody got obliterated. I thought he disappeared, but it looks like he got obliterated because there's giant hulking Black Bolt. And I think the funny thing about Black Bolt, the other characters, you can make it so that they look crazy, but you'll still know Namor and you'll still know Iron Man. A lot of people don't know Black Bolt, so you kind of just make him the Hulk version of Black Bolt, so you can tell that it's him. It almost feels like a Juggernaut / Hulk version of Black Bolt, but he ends up, and if he talks, he kills people, and he starts jibber jabbering,
starts mumbling and bumbling on it, and suddenly screams out his name.
And looks like he just causes what he does, like a giant just explosion. That we'll see how
Godzilla-sized nuclear breath attack explosion.
Crazy, because his voice is what ends up triggering the deal. And you do have some people, they look like they've escaped, the people who escaped from
some
the
of the
compound,
escapees, yeah.
And they look over and say, "Oh my God, what just happened?" So you see,
Who said that? Who's?
Yeah. I'm telling you, at the end, you're like, okay, I think this is cool.
I do, but is anyone survived, Jim? It's a hell of a cliffhanger, isn't it?
Also, I think that what saved him, because in New York City, in the Sanctum Sanctorum, you do have Clea, who's sitting there, and once you end up letting out this Doctor Strange, she actually ends up realize, like, oh my, what's he doing? Is that him? Obviously, it's this other version, but it seems like it triggers her to know, and I think she might have come and saved him by the end, to kind of zap him away. We'll see how it is. But she suddenly, just out of nowhere, she says, is that you? I sense my love. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? But with it, it's not bad, right? It's actually pretty cool.
It surprised me.
I guess Clea is on the team as well. I just went to look to make sure on the cover she is. So I think that'll be how she joins the team. But also, we didn't see Hulk or Carnage. Looks like as well. So is Eddie Brock Carnage? We'll have to see.
How's he going to fit on the team and murder everybody?
That Eddie Brock Carnage is a guy who wants to take down bad people in like that Dexter meets Carnage type deal. So he would be somebody who could be convinced, hey, we're just going to point you towards that direction. You take care of them. That might work. It might be kind of cool.
Yeah,
so,
it might.
What would you give it?
It surprised me, Jim. Marvel synopsis described it as 5 of the most dangerous loners and anti-heroes in the Marvel Universe. So it's a bit like their Suicide Squad, isn't it? That kind of team.
Yeah, it's like Thunderbolts again.
It is basically Thunderbolts.
With that different name, but it's fine. It's fine to go with it. And with the movie, like you said, that's kind of the play of the movie anyway. So
it is, yeah. I guess it's a time with that, isn't it? That's why.
And if you're going to complain, like if this was just out of nowhere and somebody's like, "Oh, a new Avengers," I think you'd read it and say, "This is just the Thunderbolts. Why are you calling it this?"
Yeah.
But it works because of the movie and what happened and whatnot. So I don't mind that.
I don't know Sam Humphries. You said you know him a little bit, but I like his writing, I like his voice of the characters, I like his sense of humor at times. Yeah, it's good. I thought they're written well.
He tends to get a little goofy. But again, it's not that I hate him. It's just that some of the things he did at DC, he did the Green Lanterns book.
Okay, yeah, the Rebirth one.
And also did, I believe it was Dial H, when they had the Wonder Comics with Bendis.
I thought that was pretty good.
Some people liked that. It was okay. But yeah, so in this, I love Bucky. Bucky's one of my favorite characters at Marvel, only because he just reminds me of Dick Grayson. He reminds me of a different version of this, of the 616 version of Dick Grayson. So I always
I'm definitely looking forward to more Bucky and Natasha making Marvel sexy Natasha, again, Jim, next issue.
Laura, I know some people get mad at Laura. I love, if this means that Gabby can join him, then I'll really love it. But we'll see. And even the characters we didn't get yet, I think might be pretty cool. So we'll have to see.
I might surprise you with my score, Jim. I've already dropped the review on the Weird Science Marvel site. I've given it an 8 out of 10.
I figured you would give it an 8. I'm going to go 7.5.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's positive for you.
Yeah,
that's
it's almost there. I thought it was okay. I'm looking at the sexy scene when they're in bed, and I swear to God, I thought that at one point, not even thinking, that they had 2 weird tin cups on the floor, but it's Natasha's gauntlet bracer type things. I'm like, look at those things. But yeah, and they're making sweet love. There they are. At least he put the bed mattress up on
And
a pallet. I don't.
he kept his robotic arm on as well. Imagine what he could do
Well,
with
you
that.
have
Jim.
to do that. I mean, that has to stay for the love making. But yeah, we're pretty positive with this. So maybe people should maybe check
Yeah,
it
I
out.
say it really genuinely surprised me this. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to the next one.
Okay.
And maybe the biggest book of the week. And I mean it because it's too many damn pages and bored the crap out of me. But it is The Amazing Spider-Man, the giant size Amazing Spider-Man. And obviously, if you're going to have a giant size Amazing Spider-Man, why not make it look like a Fantastic Four book on the cover? Because if just went by this, you would just think it's a Fantastic Four book with Miss Marvel. Then you start looking, you're like, okay, Rocket's there and there's Spider-Man, but it's not a team-up book. It's an anthology book, so it doesn't really give you much of anything. So we start off, and as far as I can tell, because there's no credits for the first story, but it's Kevin Smith, and it looks like Giuseppe Camuncoli on art. Hey, Giuseppe, what are you doing? Draw me some Spider-Man with the ripped pants. But that's all it is.
Did you hear much press for this, though? Just being serious for a second, like Kevin Smith coming back and doing Spider-Man.
I heard something at one point, but not too much.
I've heard nothing. And Chip Zdarsky as well is one of the writers on this.
And Al Ewing. I mean, actually,
very
I'm not a huge Al Ewing fan, but he's big enough, right?
Neither am I.
Yeah, he's a big enough writer, though. Chip Zdarsky coming back to Marvel before he does his Captain America, and Kevin Smith doing what is a full length. It's a weird thing of not just doing this as a full length something else, but they end up it's oversized. And it took me forever to get through it.
Me too.
These stories all seem stretched out.
I think it's 60 pages, Jim. Is it like 3 20-page stories?
Yes, yeah.
Basically.
Well, and then an extra deal that throws in the Kid Venom, which I actually was looking forward to. And then I read that and I'm like, oh, that was nothing either. But
no,
these
it wasn't.
First 3 with Kevin Smith, Al Ewing, and Chip Zdarsky, it just feels like there's nothing going on. And so I'm reading it and it just turning the page is just, oh my God, when is this going to end? I ended up not only checking the page count, because I did that a lot, but I also ended up paging ahead to see, well, who's next and when does it happen?
Me too.
Because,
I'll do the same thing. It's not a good sign, is it?
No, and the problem is page count's bad enough when you're like, oh God, I think I'm only 10 pages in. But when you're actually hoping that the story you're reading ends in a couple pages, when you're going ahead, and then I get to the next story, did the same thing. Next story, same thing. All 3. There's not a story in this.
When you start paging ahead, that's a bad sign. Not just that it's a long book, but it's that the story is not gripping you, the story that you're reading. That's why you're paging ahead. And I kept doing it. I'm the same as you.
Yeah, and Giuseppe Camuncoli, the art's pretty good in the first one. And there's bunch of villains when he first starts. And it does play that game of who cares about the Secret Six? Let's have the Sinister 69. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm telling you, in this, it almost feels like you just want to say, come on, Kevin Smith. Like, we get it. It's a funny thing to say, but for Spider-Man in this situation, not that funny.
You got to feel for poor Giuseppe as well. Like, how long did it take him to draw this page,
God,
Jim?
It's a great page. It's all the villains. I just love that Doc Ock has finally said, I'm going to upgrade my hair to a little bit more of a Beatles-esque style. When you look at it, he's got a mop top instead of that weird, it's the same thing, but it looks like when somebody has like a hairstyle and doesn't use any product and then it just like puffs out a bit. It made me laugh. Yeah, it is an Austin Powers deal. So you have some cool villains there. And I'm like, okay, this is really okay. I mean, it starts off.
It's the best thing in the book.
It is. And even then, it starts out, it's just started. And yet I already end up annoyed a bit with Peter, with his, hey, Fishbolio. And the thing that I don't get in this is I get the quirky, you're going to get, quips and quirks and all that. But when you're fighting a villain that you've fought 1,000,000 times, then suddenly you are just every time you open your mouth, you're making up another nickname type deal. I'm like, maybe that's a little too much. But Fishbolio was kind of funny. Actually, I think that was what he said to Giuseppe Camuncoli, make it the Fishbolio. But he ends up where this whole play of, oh my God, look, it's the Sinister 69, but it's Mysterio. So he's making this happen. And then you get almost the pantsed version of what you would get, but it's more the cape around the bowl than a crazy clothesline. And this whole all-time hockey, it just felt weird. It felt where if I was reading this, and I didn't know that this, because without credits, I figured it was Kevin Smith. And then I start reading, I'm like, yeah, it's Kevin Smith. He's mentioning the things he likes. Hockey with his hockey jerseys and stuff like that. But he ends, Gordie Howe gets the jersey over his attacker's head. I'm like, that's not how they'd announce it. The attacker. So you end up where at one point, then I think that what happens here is Kevin Smith also wants to make it that it's like, hey, look, we're being goofy because when he knocks Mysterio out, all of a sudden Mysterio's got his butt cheeks high up in the air like he's ready to go.
Looking a bit sexy there, Jim, as well. What's going on?
Like, look at that. And he actually does, suddenly gets very feminine. I'm like, oh, look at that. Maybe it's Gwen Stacy from the Ultimate Universe. But this whole play then just becomes, oh my God, Spider-Man ripped his pants. And if you are a SpongeBob SquarePants fan, you'll know that one of the best episodes of SpongeBob was when he ripped his pants and made a song about it, all these things. And that's all you get now. And then he goes off. It's funny. He rips his pants.
It's like stupid razor bats. Like,
where are
the razor bats?
I don't know.
I went back and looked. It's like, nope, there's nothing.
Yeah,
so anyway, someone ripped his pants and people are laughing. And Mysterio's made a song about it saying, Spider can.
On page 5 or 6, after he says, Spider can, ha, ha, ha. And that's the thing. It's Mysterio. He's talking shit. Spider-Man's like, oh, crap, I got to get out of here. At one point, looked like I thought he was cuffed, but he's hiding his ass cheeks. And really, it's just the top part, right?
There's a dog looking. He looks really grumpy.
Oh, yeah. So then he whips, cool. he goes away.
He whips it out there, Jim. Jesus.
Well, he does. And then Jay and Silent Bob are watching him go away. So there's the little insert.
Kevin Smith put himself in the comic.
And I will say, Giuseppe, it's a really good Silent Bob. Jay looks a little goofy. That Silent Bob looks dead on. It's really good. But again, I'm like, all right, we're a few issues in, and it already has his dick prints all over this thing. Like, it already is. Like, now if you're like, yeah, it makes sense. So you end up having that going down.
Good thing Spider-Man he knows a guy lives nearby, Jim. He can give me a little assistance.
He goes to Sanctum Sanctorum. Oh my God. He goes and he legit thinks that Doctor Strange has time to just fix his pants where they're pants. They're just pants. And later in either the next story or other, he starts talking about how he doesn't like magic, but yet here he loves it and he wants it changed. You get this weird cameo of Deadpool, and then he ends up realizing, okay, Sorcerer Supreme, that's not going to help my pants, so I'm going to go off to the Baxter Building, and then he has to stop the Fantastic Four from ripping each other apart because Psycho Man, this is where I'm like, is this how you went? Because he used Psycho Man in one of his recent stories as well, but he ends up having to stop Psycho Man to then end up fixing it. Yeah, and fix his pants. This is all about fixing his damn pants. Now, if you know anything Fantastic Four, you do get the way that they have their deal. And I knew this was all it was going to be. It was just going to end up being unstable molecules. And the thing, though, is then it has to explain to everybody that unstable molecules don't stop you from being killed or whatever, but the suit will not get ripped. It'll end up being okay. It's where Stan Lee and everybody who did they had to come up with a way of, well, how could there be a suit if Johnny Flame's on or stretching? So that was the unstable molecules.
His read is stretching. No way.
Yeah. And then, you have to have things like, man, you did that quick. Wow, your tailor is swift. I'm like, all right.
Johnny made the same joke. That was actually funnier than Taylor Swift line.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. So that's it. He gets his pants fixed.
We even get reference to the Osbournes, Jim, don't we? As well? Look at that.
Yeah. And
that's old.
Everybody that fights Peter in this, Mysterio and then Carnage, like to sing songs. They sing the Spider-Man theme, but end up making up crazy things. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. It's all for fun, but it's not that fun. That's the problem. And I hate to be the curmudgeon and say, oh, well, this, and I'm not going to, continuity or things like that. It's just not that fun. It was a slog to get through. this felt like a 4-page story that was stretched to 20 pages. Like you could have had it in a big, like an anthology like this, where it's just, my ripped pants. And it's just him going back and forth to people to get his pants fixed. And then at the end, Aunt May stitches it. You get unstable
just
molecules.
Like, the old 1-page bonus you used to get on the back cover of comic books, that kind of thing, advertising hostesses Twinkies, was it?
Yeah, like that. That's how it feels. It feels like that quick.
What am I going to do?
Oh, no, what can I do? I'll go to Doctor Strange.
Many pages, Jim.
One panel of Doctor Strange saying, dude, I have other things. I'm the Sorcerer Supreme. Then go to another panel, Fantastic Four. You can even have more people that he goes to because of that. But
at least the art was good, though. That's one thing that kept my attention was the art. It's nice with it.
And then a commercial at the end. You get a commercial at the end for Unstable Molecules just to really push in the nonsense. Then we go to the next story. We'll go through these a little quicker.
Okay, what's next?
Because I think that Kevin Smith, that was the big one. Al Ewing's next with 616 Day. Is that when you smoke a lot of weed? I don't know. It's written by Al Ewing, Gabriel Amata on design, and design has been Gabriel Amata all through. Mark Buckingham on art, Rachel Roseburn on colors, VC's Joe Caramana on letters. Again, art's pretty good.
Nice to see Mark Buckingham, Jim. I remember back in the day, he used to do a bit of Sandman back in the day. He's done Doctor Strange as well.
Yeah, I like this. I like the art in this. And
that's pretty good.
I don't know. It's weird because I'm telling you, of the 3 stories, before we're going through this, if you actually said, explain in detail, I couldn't because I forgot. I'm remembering them now as we go through.
Me too.
It's so bad. I don't want to admit that, but I just read it.
Who is his character? I am Eternity.
This guy seems like almost like the multiversal watcher.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Tempest Fusion from
the avatar of your universe.
Yeah, very much Sandman-esque too. Now that you mention it, I mean, this cloak and kind of looks a little goofy. I could go with a better face. But the idea of seeing,
it's Silver Surfer in the background, not the character, but the kind of space.
Exactly, and that's what it looks like. And even in his cloak, you see the thing. So he's telling Peter 616, 616, and then when Peter wakes up, he's like, "Oh my God, what happened?"
He's 45 years old. What's going on with his face?
Yeah, seriously, I think that he ended up that stupid dream took some age out of him. 616. Oh, what time is it? 6:16. Oh no. What's the date? June 16th. Oh, no.
This is magic stuff, isn't it?
Oh, I love the idea where he says, this is magic stuff. I hate magic stuff. You just use magic. You try to fix your pants. You go to anymore now. He goes to Doctor Strange first for anything. If he stubs his toe, he goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum. So Peter starts going around for a casual swing. He goes to a building. Oh, no, it's 616. And then you end up, some of this I don't even get. I love this character Wynn shows up, which if you go and he's from the God series, I didn't read the whole God series because
it took the little reference to remind me.
It was a slog again, the Hickman said. But you end up with that, he ends up snapping his fingers and knocks the 616 sign down. I'm like, is that all you're doing with your powers? Almost kills.
He killed Spider-Man, almost.
So he ends up where he's like, hey, I even know some magic words. Hey, look at me. And all I want him to say is, Peter, where you're talking shit all the time, Peter, please call this guy low rent Doctor Strange, because that's all I need him to say. Because that like, okay, low rent Doctor Strange, he even has like that hair. So he goes and they go into this building and says, today's 616 day. This starts being multiversal. It starts being this play that feels like the Al Ewing stuff when he was doing that Marvel #1 and all the things. And it seemed like at the end it was going to tie into that. But instead, they're at the beginnings, that the big bang of the Marvel universe was Jim Hammond, the what's it called? Human Torch.
Original Human Torch, yeah.
And so what happens is these rifts open. He explains the multiverse. It's okay. Again, it starts to get very much not just multiversal madness, but also Spider-Verse and stuff like that. And I think that at this point, most people are done with this. Most people want to kind of get away from this for the bit. Mentions the TVA. It's fine. But then you get attacked by this
random, freaky, weird, like tentacled monster. Holy macaroni, Jim!
Yeah, exactly. It's like a tentacled Cthulhu cyborg mon. It's a weird play, but it's the Eternivore. And I seem to think people really like Al Ewing a lot more than I do. But I swear, he gets ideas where somehow Eternivore just came into his mind, and then he built something around it. Then he goes, everything feels like he's building from a concept, and it just a lot of times doesn't hit with me. But through this riff, they see the original Jim Hammond, the experiment, and this is opening up, and you have this Cthulhu Eternivore wants to go and feed off it. This could end up changing the multiverse, all that. And he explains it in the way that is easy. If there's what ifs, which there are at Marvel, they create their own universe around it, but also there's just a lot of diverging timelines in different Earths. It's more, to me, it's more alternate timelines that become universes more here in Marvel. But you end up, and of course, Miss Marvel's there. They have this whole play where Spidey sees all these different entities from different Earths as time and space are being ripped apart.
Yeah. It's quite a nice page, isn't it? A full page there where you see that. It looks good.
I mean,
but it's
I
a
think
bit like
the art through all this is pretty darn good, but
It's got a bit of a retro feel to it, hasn't it, this one, too, Jim?
I think that
so you dick then, right, Dick?
Thanks a lot, ass.
It's that bloody Kevin Smith story.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
So when you have this stuff going, though, it's that the whole issue, the art is pretty good. But are you with me? It's not good enough to buy it for it alone.
No, it isn't. But the story, there's not much of a story.
No, and it just keeps going. That's the thing. There's like a 10-cent story stretched out to a $5 deal. So you end up where you get Rocket, Miss Marvel, Storm, Ben Grimm, Melton. And I thought, boy, this is a really cool team. But it's not that cool. It ends up where they're just fighting this Eternivore.
It's the new Avengers, Jim.
Yeah, and it doesn't even feel like. And again, if this was a book, and at the end, I could see it at the end. Oh, stay tuned for Al Ewing's new book, The Guardians of the Multiverse. Play with Rocket on there. Guardians of the What Ifs, something like that. But you're not getting that, it seems. But it just ends up where it's just a lot of, hey, I'm going to throw a bomb at this. I'm going to shoot this. I'm going to shoot this. There's never even a point that I thought that you were going to get, oh no, like Jim Hammond's, because Jim Hammond's doing what he did in that first issue deal in the background, still like, oh, look, I can shoot the fireballs. And like, oh my goodness, I can fly as they're fighting. But I never felt like they were really fighting for anything. So it just was weird. It just ended up
didn't
weird.
feel like stakes, did it really? It's just kind of like a generic, big monster, and they kind of get together and they fight it.
Again, people could say, well, Dick and ass here. Hey, guys, it's for fun. But again, it goes too long to be that fun. And the concept, I think, where you said it's kind of like an inconsequential, but it's too big to be that. So it feels weird. And then at the end, you don't really settle down with anything. And at the end, get this, the multiverse is saved. They end up where they're talking in this wind, and Spider-Man, are walking away while you have this watcher. Say happy 616 day, Sir Edwin. Happy 616 day, Peter Parker. Happy 616 day to you all. And then I'm like, that'd be cool if Wednesday was June 16th, but right now it's the 11th. And,
what a shame.
Oh, well. And yeah, again, I actually thought by the end that's a pretty cool day that if you did have one of those like Batman days and this and that, whatever, it might be like a cool play. But
yeah, I've never really thought about it before. Yeah, 616.
I think it's kind of cool, but by the end, it was a nothing story. We have one bigger story left. It's Chip Zdarsky on Rapid Advancements, Gabriel Marta on design, again, Cafu art, David Curiel colors, and VC's Joe Carmagna still on letters. And you end up starting out with Uncle Jesse. He's there from Full House. You got John Stamos. He's hanging. And this whole story is about this guy's dad ends up doing all these experiments and has missed out on his family's life. He finds out later, he has brain cancer with, he's being told by his partner. It was weird how they kept saying this lady's like, oh, that's his partner. I'm like, okay. All right, whatever.
All right.
I guess you're not allowed to say like girlfriend or
Partnering
fiance
crime,
or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're doing these experiments, and this guy's having problems. Him and his wife and kid. Hey, we need money, whatever. It kind of played out to me. He's like, listen, I don't really want to do much, and you had a lot of money, Dad, and you didn't give it to us, so I'm pissed. But he ended up spending all this money on this research, not really explaining it to his son. And it is the idea of stopping time so that you can stop the spread of cancer, and then maybe in the meantime find a way to, I don't know that you're going to want to walk around with a pink bubble around your head to stop the cancer, but it seems like part of an experiment thing, and it's okay. You end up where they have in New Jersey, where all of a sudden there's this building that has this big explosion kept in with a pink, aura that is the time deal. And then you get this guy who looks like he looks like he's like a rad sports guy who likes to ride four-wheelers. He ends up where he's in this, but he's able to move through this space. And I'm telling you, there's a concept here, but the concept gets so just tied up in minutia and tied up in just nothingness, because it all is the play that his dad was doing this research with this lady. You have Electro come in because the money men had to come in and stop this, or at least get the technology that caused an explosion. And throughout all this, you get this guy who, like I said, he's in this costume, but he doesn't know if he's good or bad. He's just trying to do his thing. And with his dad, and Spider-Man shows up, and it felt like Spider-Man in this was such an afterthought, that this is like something,
especially this final story.
Trying to you know what I mean? It's like almost feels like you're trying to set up this guy who does look like Bucky to me once he gets that costume and things on. But I don't know. You just end up where, oh no, look, when this explosion happened, Electro, he might die. We got to save him. Oh, your dad, he's dying of cancer. But if we can do this, we can get it. And then there's no real great resolution,
meant to be this
right?
new character, this like kind of Power Ranger style suit character. But I did like talk about this a few months back, on one of my live streams, where it's like this giant sized Spider-Man is going to have this character in and blah blah. They're really bigging it up, and I can't remember his name. It's like so memorable.
They even go with the idea at one point, like, hey, what are you going to call yourself? You're a superhero now. I'm like, I don't even remember what they said. I'm trying to find it now.
I'm trying to find it too. I can't find it. You could call me Dick. Oh, no, that's you.
Exactly. Call me Ass and Dick. He's ATM. But yeah, so he just is like nothing to me. And if this, again, you can tell that they're trying to push this character a bit, because Spider-Man just shows up and is just there. And then basically he's there to say, hey, I called in Iron Man. He's going to come in and help. That guy, he has all the money and the equipment. And then at the end, Iron Man, Tony Stark shows up. I swear to God, he showed up like he was ready to fight. And he just, you know what I mean? And he's like, hey, thanks for pausing the explosion for me. Traffic was murder. Oh, look at you with your phrases. And then ends up where, he says to Spidey, hey, is this guy good or bad? And he's like, he's kind of in the unsure category. I'm like, okay, get him to jail. But you end up where they're helping his father. His father has this bubble around him. They're trying to do this research. In the meantime, you end up having the Avengers helping out, Tony helping out, even giving this lady, the partner, a lab and some place to work at to try to figure out and maybe save the dad, but save humanity. Save the dad, save the world. But you end up where then at the end, this guy, he's given an Avengers card. I'm like, get out of town.
Just like, handed it out for free, Jim.
Yeah, really. I guess
anybody could get one these days.
I think this guy goes outside and sees Tony and right before he leaves, gives the hot dog vendor the Avengers card. That's Captain Hot Dog. And you did look then. It's Captain Rapid / just maybe
I
Rapid.
like Captain Hot Dog. I think you should go for that.
That'd be great. Captain Hot Dog. It's better than Captain Rapid.
Rapid.
And Rapid. That doesn't sound
then
great.
He goes, I don't like Captain, so, but he doesn't actually say, just call me Rapid. That's it. It's a weird ending, Jim, isn't it?
Oh, it's so odd. And it didn't feel like any sort of a Spider-Man story. Then there is one last thing. It's a Kid Venom kind of an ad type thing of, hey, everybody, wait for like 10 months and we're going to get Kid Venom team up. Really? I was interested to read Kid Venom when it first came out. And then because it doesn't mean much, so I just kind of lost interest in it and stopped reading.
It wasn't that good. I tried the first issue. I think we might have talked about it.
Yeah, I think we might have. It was okay, but it wasn't anything great. To have a Kid Venom team up, I don't know about that, because you even have to force the deal, and it seems like maybe that's it. They're like testing the waters of, will people understand what the hell's going on here? This is where it feels tons of Spider-Verse stuff, because you get a bunch of things going. I don't need that, but we'll just end up saying that it's really nothing and is setting up something for a year later.
I just want to read out the writer's name, Jim, just to show off, like, ooh, Japanese, because it's a Japanese name. The writer is Mitsuyasu Sakai. There you go. An art by Gerardo Sandoval. Gerardo.
Hey, Geraldo, we like Sakai's. So
we do.
That might be
big
a
fan
deal.
of the big Stan Sakai. He's
Exactly.
a legend.
So maybe, I mean, it's not like it's, not a common deal, but yeah. I was going to say maybe it's his grandson or something, but that
nothing really happens. So as you say, it's just a very brief commercial for what's coming up in 2026.
Yeah, 2026.
I like the art, though. That last panel where Keith Evans going all null.
Oh, yeah.
The crazy
that's
spiral.
crazy.
Look at the tongue.
In that keeps on talking of Clinter and that deal with the whole, Venom stuff, which, again, I've kind of bailed out of a lot of
me
the Venom
too.
thing.
That's lost on me.
Yeah, so there it is. With we are done. What would you, and I'm telling you, if I tried to read this again, I might not be done till 2026. So maybe that's the play. But what would you give this?
I'm really sorry. I feel really bad because I do like the art, but I'm going to give this maybe, a 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm a 5.5.
I'm going to say 5, but 5 is a bit low.
It's not great. Yeah, 5, because the art is pretty good.
Right, it's good.
It just feels like it's, if you have, I don't know. If you really want to read a Kevin Smith Spider-Man story, here we go. If you like Al Ewing, I mean, that the actual Al Ewing, Chip Zdarsky, Kevin Smith, that seems pretty cool, but
it wasn't like a good lineup.
It was just kind of boring.
Like saying to read the stories, and I think a lot of people will be disappointed, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
Not just us.
And again, there'll be other people who will just give it 10s and say, oh my God, a creative team from heaven. And it just was boring. But that is it. That is it for me and you and the podcast in general. So thanks, everybody, for all the support. Thanks, everybody. You, Gray, also Matt and Jason for joining me. But before we go, let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay, you can find me at Wakizashi's Tea House on YouTube, where I do comic reviews. And also, I just dropped a review on the Weird Science Marvel Comics blog, so do check that out. A review of New Avengers.
Yep, New Avengers, which we talked about. So you can go and read a review if people still read. I think they do.
Remember reading?
Print media. You're Robert Plant again.
Yeah.
Print media is dead, but reading shouldn't be. So with that, though, thank you, Gray. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers,
we're going to go. Since we're stopping with Gray or ending with Gray, we're going to go out with Gray's song. It's a tribute to Gray and how he is going to destroy the world. But thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
感動して感謝しました本当に大好きです私は普通の男ではありません私はもう本性の愛です私にからかわないでくださいそうしないとあなたは消えてしまいます私は普通の男ですでも私はあなたを殺しますだからそのまま受け取ってください足元に注意した方がいいよ準備をしてください